Welcome into the United Center for another day, day 2 of the Big Ten men's basketball tournament here in the house that John Tonelli built. Had to bring in a Blackhawks player today. We had Jordan yesterday. Hi, everybody. If you're listening to us, first off, thank you on SGSR. And if you could see us, hi from the camera, SGSR TV, Austin Crume, Sara Sharp, Tyler Danburg, our TD, Caleb Spinner. You can't see him, but he is waving at you guys right now. And guys, yesterday's game with Ohio State, it was a good one. It went down to the wire. Both teams played really well. Wisconsin had some struggles early on, and Ohio State had some struggles late, but were able to hold on and win it. Going up against Iowa, this is going to be a different animal. Iowa, best scoring team in the Big Ten, worst defensive team, so it's going to be difficult to see what they can bring. But Sarah, one of the ways Ohio State's going to have to beat this is by stopping the three. And I know you're a former player yourself, so what would you do in a situation like this if you were guarded with the task of stopping the long ball?
Well, like you said, it's going to be a different animal than yesterday. It's pretty much flopped. We know with Wisconsin, they were not as great of an offensive team, a stronger defensive team, which is not the case here with Iowa, and their three-point ability is significantly higher. And so probably Ohio State coming out here in a defense, go in a man, see how that works, and try to guard outside, leave the center a little bit more open, and then in the chance that they are able to adjust, Iowa is able to adjust and score on the inside, you might have to adjust and guard the inside and hopefully leave the three-pointer a little bit more open and they don't execute on it.
Yeah, I mean, basketball is a game of being able to readjust your approach regardless if you're winning, losing, if you're on a hot streak or a cold streak. And one of those guys who's really good at readjusting, Tyler, for Iowa is Chris Murray.
Chris Murray, his brother Keegan last year, he had a great career in his games against Ohio State. He had that big 20-plus point game last year in Columbus. But Chris Murray is just as advertised. Third-team All-American, the only player in the country to average 20 points, 8 rebounds, and to make 63 pointers on the year.
I mean, just numbers like that, it's almost like playing a video game. You think of that, you give your guy the best stats you can, and he's doing it against some of the best competition in the country. So it is no slouch what he's doing here. And I mean, Iowa and the Hawkeyes, they've faced Ohio State twice, once at the Schottenstein and once in Iowa City, and both of those games were blowouts for both teams who won. Both of the winning teams in those scored 90-plus points, and the losing teams couldn't even make it past 77. So it was really difficult when defense is on and offense is even hotter. So a game like this, Sarah, will one team be able to run away from it, or do you think defense is going to be the main factor for both squads?
Well, like you said, in that they actually split the season, so Ohio State beat Iowa at the Schottenstein Center in Columbus 93-77, and then Iowa turned around in Iowa City and beat Ohio State 92-75. Both crazy offensive games, and when you put up 93 points and even high 70s, there's not a lot of defense going on. And so what we've seen in the season so far is these two teams coming out not playing strong defense and just seeing who's able to score more. So to adjust a little bit, maybe go out there and play a little bit tougher defense. And for example, we talked about Ohio State defense being able to guard that three-pointer. That's going to be a big thing for them, especially with Chris Murray, who has over 63 pointers so far this season. So it's going to be which team, instead of going out there and seeing who's going to score more, who's going to play better defense.
And I think, Sarah, when it comes down to it, you also got to take a look and see if Ohio State can hit their three-pointers, because they came into this tournament shooting over 35% from beyond the arc, and they had a good day shooting the lights out from long range yesterday. So how they can respond today and hit the three ball is going to be another key.
Yeah, Tyler, you had actually talked about it a little bit before here, how good Iowa really is at shooting threes. I know you have a stat that you may want to bring up here, just the kind of a difference between how many Iowa have made the past few games compared to Ohio State's.
Right, if you take a look at the last 3 games, the Hawkeyes, they have sank 42 three-pointers over the last 3 games. Ohio State not doing a bad job either. They've hit 24. So if you do the math, that's 66 combined three-pointers over 6 combined games over the last home stretch of this season. So we could see a lot of long-distance shots.
Yeah, especially Ohio State, you had just said, only shooting around 35% from 3, not being known as a team to go from beyond the arc. They're mostly known to crash the paint and see what you can do. Averaging around 6 threes a game is still good, though. But even if you do play a man kind of a zone on Iowa, they are also going to crash the paint. We've seen Chris Murray. He's not afraid to do a jab step and drive in with his right or left and go up for him. So the defensive stopping from Ohio State is going to be their big key. And maybe Okpara, after a game he had yesterday, how does he have to step up in this one?
Well, he's going to have to step up by doing a little bit of everything. We talked about the impact that he makes outside the box score. He has 11 games on the season with multiple blocks, so a great rim protector. And we were talking about this, the four of us, before the game. This is one of the rare instances where Felix Okpara is going to be the tallest guy on the floor, because the tallest player that Iowa has is 6'10", and that's Joshua Gundele, the junior, who only plays in rare minutes. He doesn't play too much. So Okpara is going to have a big role in this game using the height to his advantage instead of being an undersized guy.
And I think that's why this is such a different game for Ohio State than last night's game against Wisconsin, where Okpara had a big defensive role going up against Steven Crowell, the 7-footer, and Ohio State got off easy at the three-point line. Wisconsin was not shooting well from outside the arc, but tonight against Iowa, it's going to be completely different. Again, Okpara, shift it, have a stronger offensive game, and then play some better defense on the outside.
Yeah, Okpara, a guy who's not necessarily going to fill the stat sheet. You won't see him going out here and getting a double-double. You may only see him get 4 points, 7 rebounds. But I think the most important part of his game, just in the last 5 minutes yesterday versus Wisconsin, he had 2 very crucial blocks, which were some of the game-defining moments there on defense, and a very important rebound right at the end, just to waste another 7 or so seconds for Ohio State, for them to just run the ball down the court and waste more time. So I could see him honestly playing a majority of the minutes here, maybe only 3 to 4 minute rest. It kind of depends what Holtmann wants to see out of him so far.
And there's the length of Felix Okpara that you mentioned, Austin. And Chris Holtmann said that Felix Okpara is a guy that's going to need an offseason to continue to get stronger, continue to build muscle. But right now, they're relying on his athleticism and his length alone. And that's pretty impressive, and it says a lot about a 6'11" freshman having to play meaningful minutes and make another start in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, and with Zed Key clearly being out, he is getting these minutes. Zed Key is way shorter, 6'8" for him. The guy who normally plays the 5, kind of built like a running back, actually. So you see him go out, and he's going to get you the rebounds because he plays bully ball, but he doesn't have that height. And the height advantage so far for Ohio State has worked out for them. But with this one, we got 6 minutes to tip off, so I think we're going to step away for just a minute or two until we can get the starting lineup for you guys. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Again, thank you for listening to us, SGSR and SGSR TV.
Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1 off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to see you there, but for now, that's the ad. We're out of here.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Zachary Rodier here, the podcast coordinator for Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Here to tell you that if you want to listen to post-game coverage of your favorite Ohio State athletics, make sure you subscribe and listen to SGSR Recap, where post-game coverage of all the big games, including football, big hockey, basketball, and everything around will be on SGSR Recap in case you miss post-game live on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. So make sure you listen to SGSR Recap on your favorite listening platform on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hey Buckeye fans, this is Patrick Engels, president of the Sports and Society Initiative Student Club. Are you interested in pursuing a career in sports and hearing from professionals who work in the sports industry? If so, then come find us in room 274 of the Journalism Building for SSI's bi-weekly meetings. Join us every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. to hear from qualified guest speakers who work in sports throughout Columbus, Ohio, and beyond. For questions regarding our club, please contact myself, our treasurer Jacob Benj, or our advisor Dr. Nicole Kraft. Go Bucks!
This is Matt Goldman, Vice President of SGSR, and you're listening to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, the official student radio network of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming soon to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, Season 2 of the Nothing But Nylon podcast with Gabe and Tyreek, covering all things Ohio State men's basketball.
Bringing you news, analysis, and more. Episodes will be coming to you every Tuesday starting November 1st. We hope to see you soon on Nothing But Nylon. Peace.
We welcome you back inside the United Center. Tyler Danburg, Sara Sharp, Austin Crume, and Caleb Spinner for Iowa and Ohio State. The 13th seed Buckeyes taking on the 5th seed Hawkeyes. Ohio State fresh off a win last night. They'll take on an Iowa team that last played on Sunday in the regular season finale against Nebraska and lost 81-77. We are about 3 minutes away from tip-off. Let's take a look at the starting lineup, starting off with the visiting Ohio State Buckeyes under 6th-year head coach Chris Holtmann. It will be the same lineup as yesterday, featuring 4 freshmen. In the backcourt will be the 6'2 freshman guard out of Alpharetta, Georgia, Bruce Thornton, averaging just under 17 points over his last 5 games. Ronnie Gale Jr. will get the start, 6'4 freshman guard out of Niagara Falls in his 9th career start. The man in the middle is Bryce Sensabaugh, 6'6 freshman. He had 9 points and 11 rebounds yesterday. He hails from Orlando, Florida. And down low will be the 6'6 redshirt senior, Justice Suing, the 6th-year veteran out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And rounding out the lineup, the 6'11 freshman center out of Lagos, Nigeria, the big man, Felix Akpara, who will be one of the biggest guys on the floor today. For Iowa, 19-12 on the season, 11-9 in the Big Ten under 13th-year head coach Fran McCaffrey. In the backcourt, the guards will be one of his 2 sons on the roster, Connor McCaffrey, 6'6 graduate out of Iowa City. He leads the country in assists to turnover ratio. Aaron Eulis will make his 26th start of the season, 6'3 junior guard in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. He played at Marian Catholic. Tony Perkins, who scored 24 points against Ohio State on February 16th. He will get the start, 6'4 junior out of Indianapolis. And down low will be Filip Rabracha, the 6'9 5th-year forward out of Sambar, Serbia. And Chris Murray, the 3rd-team All-American, 6'8 junior forward out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Ohio State warming up on the side to our left, Iowa warming up to our right. And it should be a good one. Before we go to break, what's one thing that you both are looking for in this game? I'll start off with you, Austin.
I mean, Chris Murray, you know what he's going to bring. He's going to go out and give you at least 20. And a game like this might only average around 16 or so. He's going to definitely get over the average that he normally does. So Ohio State is going to have to stop him at the guard and do everything they can to get good defense from Thornton and Gale Jr.
And I'm looking for defense overall as a team, no specific individuals. And we know both of these teams can go out and they can score. They have strong offenses. So which team is going to come out and step up to the defensive challenge of guarding players like Chris Murray?
2 of the country's top 25 most efficient offenses will collide in just a couple of moments on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. On the other side of this break, number 13 seed Ohio State looking to continue their run, taking on the 5th seed Iowa Hawkeyes. Coming up next at the United Center here on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio and SGSR TV. Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High.
Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1 off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together we co-host the Ohio State.
We welcome you back inside the United Center in downtown Chicago, Illinois, the land of Jordan, Deep Dish, and Ditka. Here on SGSR and SGSR TV, alongside Austin Crume, Sara Sharp, Caleb Spinner. I'm Tyler Danburg, getting ready for Ohio State and Iowa. This will be the third meeting of the season. Ohio State took the first one on January 24th. That was a 93-77 win. And then about a month later in Iowa City, a 92-75 loss to the Hawkeyes. And so no matter who wins this game, you know that we're going to see a lot of offense.
Absolutely, and obviously these two teams, that's their strongest point, is their offense. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe somebody comes out, adjusts, and plays some defense and lowers that offense down, or if maybe we'll hit 100 today since they've been in the 90s.
I would not be surprised just based on what Vegas has this game at. The line is 154 points. I would not be surprised to see some high-fly offense in this one. Definitely see Iowa, if they can get the ball first and win the tip-off, they may try to spring a three real quick. Just get them and keep going and get the hot hand fast. And if they do, Ohio State will have to pick it up quick. Unlike yesterday where it was reversed, Ohio State got the hot hand real fast and kept firing on Wisconsin, and Wisconsin couldn't stop it with everything they had. So you have to be the team who wins the tip-off. You attack first and fast before the defense can get set in motion.
What a great sight, too, at half court. The two mascots, Herky and Brutus, shaking hands, and the two rivals uniting. And so will these two teams. Iowa will go from defense to offense, from left to right, in the all-gold uniforms with the black letters, black numbers, and the black and white trim. Ohio State going from defense to offense, from right to left in the scarlet uniforms, the white letters, white numbers, and the white, scarlet, and gray trim. They're 1-0 in those uniforms in this tournament. Iowa playing for the first time this week. Ohio State looking to make it 2-0 as they beat Wisconsin yesterday. The tip for Iowa will be Chris Murray, the junior 6'8" forward, and Felix Akpara, the 6'11" freshman center to tip. Brian Dorsey, the head referee, flips it up with the right hand at the center circle. Tip controlled by Akpara and the Buckeyes, and away we go with a trip to the Big Ten Tournament quarterfinals on the line and a date to take on Michigan State tomorrow. Justice Suing holds the ball above his shoulders for the Buckeyes. He flips it between the rings for Thornton. Right hand pass into the right corner for Gale. Made his first start in that January 24th game to Iowa. Flips right side to Thornton. Puts it up and puts it in. And Thornton's got Ohio State on the board.
And Thornton had a great game last night against Wisconsin, putting up double digits for another game.
Chris Murray has it on the other end. Gets it up top, left of the circle for Rebracha. Backs down on Akpara, 19:15 to go, first half. Murray, top of the circle, nearly lost it, gets it back, whips it left mid-post to Rebracha, turns, fires, and scores, and we're tied up 1 minute into the ball game.
Rebracha is going to be a difficult guy for Akpara to defend, even giving his body everything just on the first play there. He was still getting bullied around a little bit.
Ohio State has possession. Thornton left wing three, wide left to the mark. Rebound controlled by Rebracha. Over the timeline for Ulis. Cross court right wing to McCaffrey and back over top of the key to Ulis. Gets it off right of the circle for Rebracha. Had the first two of the game. Gets it off to Murray. Right wing three ball up. And no good and out of bounds over the baseline left. 18:33 to go first half. And we're seeing a couple of three-pointers on both ends from two teams that are in the top 5 in three-point shooting. And we're going to get a whistle. And not sure what's going on right now. Fran McCaffrey going over to the head referee, Brian Dorsey. Looks like he saw something with Aaron Eulis, and they're going to make a quick substitution. And in checks Patrick McCaffrey for the Hawkeyes, and Eulis has to come out. Appears that he might have been bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he had to check his finger, and right now the training staff is actually holding up a couple of towels and bandages near his finger to make sure they can stop the bleeding and get him back in quick, because he's one of the guards that Iowa's definitely going to need to take charge.
That's his 26th start on the season. Tie game at 2, 18-15 to go, first half. Ohio State basketball attacking the basket to our left. Thornton drives baseline right, curls to the left block, hands to Sewing, Karam's in the left wing to Gale. Shot clock winding down, step back, three is too strong, and a shot clock violation forced by the Hawkeyes.
And so far, a couple three-pointers, but also with Iowa, they've passed up a few of those outside shots and got it into Rebraca on the inside instead.
And Rebraca has the only 2 points for Iowa, and Thornton has the lone 2 for Ohio State. Tied up at 2 apiece under 18 minutes to go. Iowa struts into the forecourt with McCaffrey high on the left. This is Connor McCaffrey. Gets it to Rebraca, left block, back up top. McCaffrey pumps, drives, kicks right of the circle for Davis. He puts up a 3, and that's Tony Perkins that's going to take it and make it, and Iowa's in front by 3.
Perkins is one of those guys, especially at the small forward position, who you want to be a 3-and-D player, and that's what he brings. And if he's feeling good on the 3 shots, you might have to guard up real quick.
17.5 to go, opening half. Here's Ohio State with the basketball in the traveling Scarlet. Bryce Sensabaugh fires a left wing 3-ball, no good. Offensive rebound, though, pulled in by Akpara, and they'll reorganize with Bruce Thornton. He's got 10 on the timer, 17 on the game clock. Flips right wing to Sewing. Open right elbow J, too strong. Tipped and saved by Murray, and the Hawkeyes take it up the right-hand side. It's Perkins crossing over. Hands to Rebraca. Back off to Perkins, defended by Thornton. Gets a screen from Rebraca. Muscles it up. Air ball, but kept alive by the Hawkeyes, and it's touched last by Felix Akpara with 16:46 left in the first half. We've seen a lot of misses so far early on.
And Sewing right there, even on the other end, he was about at the elbow area, wide open because his defender faked in front of him and went too soon, and he still was not able to execute.
Ball is loose, left free throw line extended, picked up by Roddy Gale. It was stolen away by Bruce Thornton. Ohio State's got possession. 16.5 to go, opening stanza. 5-2 Hawkeyes lead in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. First game for Iowa, second for Ohio State. Buckeyes work it from right to left. Foul called on the Roddy Gale pass as it was caught by Bruce Thornton. A reach-in foul on Tony Perkins, his first, Iowa's first. 16:23 to go in the first.
After Thornton made that midi, Ohio State is 0 for 4 on a scoring drought of over 3 minutes. This is not how you want to start the game, just being about 3.5 through the game so far.
And they started off strong yesterday. They had a lead that was as large as 27. Justice Sewing curls into the paint, scoops it up with the left hand, and finishes.
Nice move by Sewing, and a lot of inside shots for Ohio State so far tonight.
5-4 Iowa leading. Hawkeyes quickly take it. Patrick McCaffrey to the goal. Finger rolls it home down the right lane line. And with under 16 minutes left in the first half, Hawkeyes extend the lead to 3.
When defense is up at the perimeter, sometimes you have to drive inside. And if you could switch hands at the rim quick, that's going to be what's successful here.
First 2 for Patrick McCaffrey at 23 in the loss to Nebraska. Felix Akpara goes near the scores table down the near sideline and loses the handle for the Buckeyes. Bryce Sensabaugh tried to pass it off to Akpara, kicked away from him, went sprinting towards the broadcast position right at half court and couldn't keep it in on the black sideline. Clock stopped in our first media timeout.
Akpara there, just a little bit of confusion with Bryce Sensabaugh. As he had his hand out, he wanted the ball and he was ready, just a little bit too far of a pass for Akpara to retrieve.
15:36 left in the first half. It's a 7-4 Iowa lead over Ohio State. Austin, how important are turnovers in this game.
I mean, Ohio State has been a team, when you look at them, at the beginning of their games, when they're still trying to get comfortable on the floor against whatever defensive schemes they're playing against, they seem to be a team who gives more turnovers at the beginning of the game compared to the second half of the game. So this is not necessarily a bad thing or a problem from what we've seen for Ohio State. I mean, you know turnovers are bad regardless of when you get them in the game, but you would much rather get them out of the way when you're still shaking the rust off from yesterday and then re-up and be all smooth and silky in the second half of the game when it really matters, especially with how every game has been so far in this tournament, all been within about 5 to 6 baskets or so, except for the Rutgers game. That just happened. Rutgers beat Michigan, and Rutgers' offense was high-flying, I gotta say.
They were. Cam Spencer, that silky smooth jump shot, giving RU a 62-50 win over the 8-seed Michigan Wolverines. And then coming up after this game, regardless of who wins this one, it'll be 10th seed Penn State, 7th seed Illinois. A lot of Illinois fans, makes sense. We're in Chicago, so not too far from Urbana-Champaign. But getting back into this game, Sarah, Ohio State down by 3, and they will be on defense after that Akpara turnover. So now, defensively, what have you seen from them in the first 4.5 minutes?
Well, we talked a little bit in the pregame that we thought maybe they would go out and defend that three-pointer a little more, and they have, because Iowa has been able to get inside and score inside, which is the biggest issue for this Buckeyes defense. Is not only is Iowa able to shoot that three-pointer, but they will get inside and they will score as well. And so that's the big job for Akpara that we have stressed so much, is being able to defend inside, and he was able to do it well against Stephen Crowell, who was 7 foot in the game last night against Wisconsin. He needs to do it well here tonight, and players who are smaller than him.
So this will be a meeting between Iowa and Ohio State in a matchup where the Hawkeyes have a narrow margin in the all-time series. They lead it 84-83. So Ohio State with a win here, not only can they advance in the Big Ten tournament, but they can also tie up the all-time series.
And that's exactly what you want for Ohio State. You let the country know that you are here to play after the win against Wisconsin, and you can really show them that you aren't to be messed with if you can get a big win here over Iowa.
Back off the timeout, Iowa controlling in the home goal. Cross-court lob, left corner to Murray, drives, kicks to Perkins, one more left wing, McCaffrey dials up a triple, won't go, and the rebound pulled in by Bryce Sensabaugh. Sean McNeil into the game for Ohio State, coming off a 17-point performance yesterday.
Sean McNeil came off the bench yesterday and played a solid game, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they have him coming off the bench again today.
15 minutes left, first half, 7 for Iowa. Ohio State having it high on the right. Suing dashes left to the circle, inside the free throw line, kicks out top side to McNeil. Steps back, fires left corner to Suing. Drives, pumps, floats it up as the shot clock came down, and he couldn't get it off in time. Iowa gets the second Ohio State shot clock violation with under 15 minutes to go in the half.
Iowa's defense has definitely stepped up from where they are ranked in the Big Ten, dead last. So you could see that they've definitely made some up and up compared to the last few times they've had a matchup against each other.
Hawkeyes with the basketball inside the right corner. Rebraca drives, reverses it on Akpara, and scores at the left post. Good take by Rebraca, and it's a 9-4 Iowa advantage.
Bracha now with 4 points tonight, and he is just doing everything he wants down in the post.
Here's Ohio State looking to answer. Bruce Thornton inside the left wing arc. Dribble drive to the free throw line. Double clutch shot is good for Bruce Thornton, and he's now got 4 points.
Thornton is one of those guys that you know he's going to have a big game here. But yesterday's game, Suing needs to step it up as well, because he was the spark that got this Ohio State offense going.
He had 16 points in that game. 9-6 Iowa, 14 minutes to go. Rebraca stops. He fires at the basket. Rejected by Akpara. Ohio State bringing it from right to left. Thornton top of the key, stepping back, top of the circle, right hand pass right wing to Sensabaugh. Dribble drive to the left mid post, scoops it up with the right hand and scores. Sensabaugh pulls Ohio State within 1.
And we talked about Akpara maybe not showing up as much in the rebounding and scoring parts of that score sheet, but he'll get those blocks and he'll play hard.
On the Iowa offensive possession, ball is loose, a scrum forward inside the right elbow. 2 Ohio State players and 2 Iowa Hawkeyes are on the black painted lane just inside the Big Ten Conference logo, and a jump ball is called, and here comes the cleaning crew to mop up the floor. A lot of sweat and a lot of hustle on that possession It was Tony Perkins that got tied up with Ohio State's Bryce Sensabaugh, and the Hawkeyes keep it.
What I do have to say is Okpara was one of the guys who was last to get up from that scrum, holding the ball. And against Wisconsin last night, late in crunch time, he had a very similar play where he let the ball get ripped out of his hands. So his mentality might be, hold on with everything I got. We got to keep the ball now.
13:35 to go, opening stanza. Iowa retaining it. Attacking the basket to our right. Murray, the third-team All-American, flips mid-post left to Rebraca. Jump hook with the right hand, rolls off the rim and in. Rebraca's now got 6 points with under 13.5 to go in the opening frame.
We know how strong Iowa is from the three-point line, but they have not even had to score from outside the arc so far because Rebraca is able to score down low.
Ice likely in for Ohio State. His first possession, passes low on the right to Sewing. Backs out to the right corner, dashes back inside against the triple team, knocked away, kept alive by Likely. Hands to Sensabaugh, right of the lane, drives and finishes with the right hand.
Sensabaugh's going to have a big day here if Ohio State wants to stay in this one.
Hawkeyes possessed with both McCaffreys out on the floor. Connor to Patrick. McCaffrey, right wing to Rebraca. Flips to Murray, lines up a triple. Off the rim, off the backboard, no good from the right wing. 11-10 Iowa up. Buckeyes basketball, 12.5 to go in the first half. Ohio State 4 of their last 4. Sensabaugh right of the circle, right of the lane. Swooping in on McCaffrey, pumps, fall away, Jay, falls for Sensabaugh, and Ohio State leads at 12-11.
And Sensabaugh only had 9 points last night, but he's scoring more like what we've seen so far this season today.
12-10 to go, opening half. Ohio State leading. Chris Murray, high on the right, defended tightly by Likely, the Oklahoma State transfer. Murray to the right block, to the basket, and he finishes with the left hand, and Iowa regains the lead. Just exchanging punches back and forth, 13-12 Hawkeyes.
And that's going to be expected in a high-flying offensive game like this, but like we had said earlier, the defense at the three has definitely stepped up for both squads.
Ohio State ball just as Sewing, unassisted, lays it up, misses, taps it up, and taps it in. 14-13 Ohio State up. Efficiency on both ends. Iowa controls at the free throw line of Ohio State. Rebraca tries to whittle it inside. Tipped and stolen away by Likely for OSU. Buckeyes taking it from right to left. Likely picks up his dribble, kicks Sensabaugh, fires for three, off the rim and out. 14-13 Ohio State up. Iowa basketball. Aaron Eulis, brother of former Kentucky Wildcat Tyler Eulis, kicks left wing to Murray. Floats up a three, won't go. Sensabaugh gets the defensive board, and then he gets fouled from behind after he pulls in his fourth rebound. An immediate timeout on the floor. 11-10 to go in this first half. Let's talk about Bryce Sensabaugh, Sarah. 14-13 the Ohio State lead, and right after that timeout break, the Ohio State leading scorer got the rebound. That's been something that we have not been strangers to in this Big Ten tournament, seeing Bryce Sensabaugh play a big role on the glass as a rebounder.
He has, and he had double-digit rebounds last night against Wisconsin. He's got 3 so far tonight, but in the game against Wisconsin last night, he also only had 9 points, but he's got 6. So even just into this first half of this game against Iowa, so not only is he strong on the boards again tonight, he's also scoring. So a great performance by him so far.
Yeah, his regular season average of rebounds is 5.2, so he's already well on his way. Maybe he plays better defense in high leverage situations like tournament games where it's a one and done, everything you got. But I also think compared to yesterday, Sensabaugh's first shot attempt yesterday was a 3-ball, and it didn't work, and then he seemed somewhat quiet to get his range and his motion and his good feeling from the field. So maybe going for those twos and not forcing a shot from 35 out is going to allow him to get smoother way faster.
It's a 14-13 Ohio State lead, and the last couple of possessions have been more true to both squads' identity. Ohio State 6 of their last 8. Iowa has converted on 3 of their last 4 trips as an offense, and that's made for overall Ohio State being 7 of 13 from the field, and Iowa 6 of 12 from inside and outside three-point range. So overall, we've seen a lot of efficient offense, which we were bound to see coming into a matchup like this.
But the efficient offense has come from more on the inside of the court instead of outside on the three-point line. Iowa right now 1 of 5 from the three-point line, and Ohio State 0 of 3. So there's been a lot of inside play and inside offense for both of these teams.
Philip Rebracha, 6 points, Austin, in 9 minutes. He's been making an impact inside. How does Ohio State adjust and try and play him and limit his impact for the final 11-10 in this half?
Luckily for Rebracha, you don't have to worry about him shooting the 3-ball. Only attempted 6 shots in the regular season and made 2 of them. So you're not going to see him out there unless really the shot clock's winding down. But for a guy who averaged 13.9 points per regular season games, you got to stop him inside. So that man coverage may not be the best. You have to have a guy play zone, potentially play that middle area. So if he drives in, you step in front. But if he passes out to shoot, he can shoot forward and try to put a hand up. Because if not, hands down, man down, and that's an easy 3-ball.
11-10 at this media timeout. 14-13 Ohio State leads. And it's time for our director and president, Caleb Spinner, to test the knowledge of Austin Crume and Sara Sharp.
Hello, Spin Doctor. How you doing?
Pardon a little bit of the popping that happened when I put that headset on. But somebody brought up, I forget who it was, but somebody brought up the acoustics earlier in here. Which concert was the first in this building that is held in bad regard because of its acoustics? And the Buckeyes are on the floor and Hawkeyes are getting back out there. So you've got like 3 seconds. 2.
The Beatles?
1.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. Sarah has it. Sarah has it.
I can't believe I actually got that right.
We were listening to Billy Joel on the way here.
That's what made me think of it.
I mean, that's a great one to have, I got to admit.
Whenever you answer concert trivia questions, it's always Billy Joel.
I'm sorry you couldn't see him at the Garden, Tyler.
Yeah, it's okay. And meanwhile, Sean McNeil couldn't get over the timeline in time. And McNeil commits the 8-second violation for Ohio State. 11 minutes left first half. You may be right. I may be crazy, but we've seen a lot of good offense so far, and it's 14-13 Ohio State. Here's Iowa with the basketball and the away goal. They work it around the horn, left corner to Connor McCaffrey. Back into the ball game over the outstretched arms of Ice Likely for Ohio State. Has the ball on his left hip. Forceful bounce pass inside of Rebracha, muscles it up, couldn't scoop it home. Ohio State gets the board and Likely has numbers. Ahead to Sewing, low on the left to Gale. Backs out, picks up his dribble, and reorganizes with Sean McNeil looking back to his head coach Chris Holtmann. Flips left forecourt to Sewing. 2-3 zone for the Hawkeyes now. They drop into the zone defense. 10.5 to go, opening stanza. Sewing has 6 on the shot clock, now with 5. Goes in on Ulis. Left wing 3-ball up, and it clanks off the back iron, and a defensive foul on Ohio State's Roddy Gale after it was rebounded by Iowa's Connor McCaffrey. And so Sewing working down the shot clock that time, but he couldn't hit, and now Ohio State 0 of 4 from beyond the arc.
And an interesting play right there because there was a lot of miscommunication with the Buckeyes trying to figure out how they wanted to set up, and that ran the shot clock down for them.
So 10 minutes left in the opening half. 14-13, Ohio State up. Neither team has scored in the last 2 minutes. High in the left for Iowa is Connor McCaffrey. Pushes it to his brother Patrick. Slips it inside the right arc to Rebracha. Back off to his teammate in Peyton Sandfort. He puts it up. Can't knock it home. 14-13 still Ohio State up. They've gotten a couple of defensive stops. That's Peyton Sandfort into the game. Big Ten 6th man of the year. He's defending on Roddy Gale, who holds the orange basketball high on the right. Now to Eugene Brown, who's into the game for Ohio State. Hands to Likely. Off top of the rings to McNeil. Flips left wing to Gale. Had a pass tipped away by Sanford with 9:26 left in the first half. A lot of bench emptying so far. Ohio State tops in the Big Ten Conference in bench points per game with 20 per ball game, and an Ohio State timeout called on the floor.
I don't think bench points are going to necessarily be the problem in this one. I think so far Ohio State's defense from their starters, you've seen how well they've switched to an inside game. You realize that Iowa is not necessarily going for the threes that they're normally going to go for because Ohio State is targeting them so well. But as well as getting into the restricted area and the back ends of the paint, they're moving well to get the defense to stop on drives inside. So what you have to do is get the bench to be in the same kind of linkware so that they know exactly what they're doing. You got to get in the same mindset as your starters. You get the defense out there and tell them, look, you're not going to be out here. We don't care how many points you can put up. We care how many points you can stop Iowa from putting up. So keep our defense fluid, and when we keep the switches, it'll feel like nothing else has changed, and it's all been the same regardless of who's on the floor.
Hawkeyes haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. They're looking for a spark, and so they're going to go to Peyton Sanford, the Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year. And on the year, Sanford's really developed well, and he's averaging just under 2 3-pointers per game. Justice Suing triggers in an inbound to Ohio State teammate Sean McNeil. 3 to shoot, drives the lane, flips it up with the right hand, and got fouled with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Good drive by McNeil, and a last-ditch effort results in 2 free throws.
Bit of a late call there by the ref, and the Iowa fans were not happy about that one.
They're going to call it on Sanford. His first personal, 3rd team foul for Iowa. First team foul for Ohio State was issued just a possession ago, and McNeil drains the first to make it a 2-point game. That ends a 2-minute scoring drought for the Buckeyes. And Austin, you've been high on Sean McNeil and the impact that he makes for an Ohio State team.
Yeah, he definitely has to be one of those guys who you get out and just let him shoot the way he knows. He's one of the best free throw shooters on the team at 88% as of yesterday, so you know he's going to get a shot any chance he can take.
And he hits both as well. Into the game for Iowa is Tony Perkins. He gives it left block to Chris Murray, pirouetting in the paint, and he lays it up and in. Tough finish from the left block over Roddy Gale, and Iowa's back within 1. 9 minutes left, opening half. Ice Likely into the forecourt. Had a double-double 2 meetings against Iowa ago on January 24th. His best game in his first year at Ohio State. Elects to pass to Justice Suing high on the right. Gives it high on the left to McNeil. Top of the circle to Likely. Goes down right of the lane. 8 to shoot, 7 to shoot. He turns, he fires, can't bank it in. Loose ball underneath the hoop. Likely tries to grab it away from Murray. It goes out of bounds underneath the basket to our left. And the referee's waiting to give the call, and they're going to signal Ohio State basketball, and that's Likely not giving up on the play, and the Buckeyes will retain it with 8:40 left in the first.
Suing being subbed out here as well as Ice Likely, and Suing so far hasn't been as hot as he has in past days, only around 4 points and not shooting the greatest, so maybe just give him a minute to rest and just recoup with what he's got.
Inbound goes high on the right to McNeil, defended by Connor McCaffrey. Angle dribbles left, launches a 3, wide left to the mark. 16-15 Ohio State. Iowa basketball. Long lob down low, tipped away by Eugene Brown for Ohio State, and the Buckeyes force another Iowa turnover. Bruce Thornton between the rings, switched on to by McCaffrey, goes down right of the lane, finger rolls it up and in at the right block, and it's a 3-point Ohio State lead. Hawkeyes take possession back, spinning inside the right elbow is Ulis, and he will get fouled at the white painted semicircle underneath the basket to our right. Foul committed by Ohio State's Roddy Gale Jr., 8:06 to go. A lot of coast-to-coast offense as well.
Definitely has been, and I got to say, a guy who's done well on that so far when there's some high leverage situations is Thornton.
Ulis unloads from the 15 and comes up empty for the Hawkeyes. Board crawled out to Gale. Behind the back on the other end to Sensabaugh. Flips right corner McNeil. Catch and shoot 3. He's got it.
And a great play by Sensabaugh there. A lot of times he would go up and take that shot himself, but he saw McNeil open and the corner, and he knew he was a solid 3-point shooter and let him get the 3 points instead.
McNeil's got 5. Patrick McCaffrey scoops to the hoop on the other end for the Hawkeyes. Goes up, under, and in, and pulls the Hawkeyes within 5, with 7.5 to go in the first half. Bruce Thornton running the point, high on the left. Flips between the rings to Brown, wears that right red arm sleeve. Hands to McNeil, dribbling behind his back. He's got 5 points. Crossing over, 18-footer off the rim yet again. Takes 2 bounces off the lid and out. Comes up empty. Hawkeyes basketball. Patrick McCaffrey unloads to the right wing to his brother Connor. Organizing the offense. Fires left wing to Murray. Back to the right wing for Perkins, goes to the line, goes to the block, loses the handle, picked up by McNeil, and Ohio State forces Iowa's 4th turnover of the game.
Ohio State's defense has been absolutely extravagant in this one so far, turning a lot of turnovers and fast break attempts on their point from yesterday's game and now into this one.
6.5 to go in the first half. Thornton shaking and baking left to the circle, fired a 15-footer at the free throw line, but comes up empty. 21-17, Ohio State leading. Hawkeyes possess on the right side of the floor. In the left corner, holding it on his right hip, is Patrick McCaffrey. Gives it up to his brother Connor. Connor McCaffrey, bounce pass between the post to Murray, fumbling with the basketball. Stripped from behind by Sensabaugh, regathers, shoots, and scores. Murray, a long right wing three, goes down, and it's a 1-point OSU lead.
And Iowa 1 of 5 before that three-point shot, and a player you do not want to get hot from the three-point line.
The Buckeyes slowing it down. Thornton off to McNeil, high on the right. Tight defense by Eulis. Bounces right corner to Sensabaugh, and an offensive foul is called. Hawkeyes have it going back in their direction. 4th team foul for Ohio State. And it's now a 2-minute scoring drought for the Buckeyes with 5:48 left in the first half. What have you seen, Austin, over the last few minutes that has allowed Iowa to pull back within to one possession?
I mean, that three-pointer by Murray, as little as you say, oh, it's just one shot, it can't do that much. Sensabaugh, what I saw is he went for the behind-the-back rip and missed it. And instead of trying to get back on defense, just kind of sat there and shrugged his shoulders and kind of like took his losses on it. And it allowed Murray to just set his feet. No one even moved on the rest of the Ohio State defense. That's not a good look when you want a defense to be so flowing and so good against a guy like Murray and the rest of his offense who just need one open shot and then it'll start raining.
We have 5:48 left in this first half. Immediate timeout on the floor. Tyler Danburg, Sara Sharp, Austin Crume, Caleb Spinner, and it looks like we might have another United Center / Chicago Bulls / Chicago Blackhawks trivia question coming up. Caleb, what do you have for us?
Oh boy, let's see. So Austin brought in the house that John Tonelli built earlier in here. Speaking of Blackhawks and Bulls legends, you look around the arena, you see all these banners hanging in the rafters. My question to you, how many are there?
Overall.
Yeah, overall.
Oh, man.
Can you give us, like...
How much time do I have to count?
Yeah, well, can you give us, like, if it's in the 20s or in the 30s or
It's
what?
definitely not in the 20s and 30s.
It's definitely over. It's over that.
Look out at the thing.
Over that.
No, that's what I was asking because that easily cut. I'm going to go shot in the dark 57.
I'm going to go 48.
Your shot in the dark was really close, 58.
Oh, no, come
58.
on.
6 Stanley Cups, 6 NBA championships, 7 Blackhawk players, 4 Bulls players, 1 coach, 1 GM.
Oh, man. Who's the... There's got to be one I missed, and I'm going to find it, and I'm just going to announce it from the rest of the time. It will be the one banner I missed.
Glenn Hall, Keith Magnuson, Pierre Palat, Bobby Hull, Dennis Savard, Stan Nikita, and Tony Esposito are the Blackhawks. I probably butchered those names. I didn't expect to read them here. Michael Jordan, Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, and Jerry Krause.
Just in those names, there's so many stats. I mean, combined over the NHL and NBA, this building just has so much history in sports.
So much history to it. You look, you see all the banners in white. The Bulls are off to our left. The Blackhawks are off to our right. It's a winning atmosphere. And you know what? This is a winning conference. Now, the Big Ten, they haven't had a tournament champion since 2000, I believe, with Michigan State. But they have a deep conference every year. We have a deep field here at the Big Ten tournament.
Anything's possible in March. You know how this goes. There's upsets all the time. Even yesterday with Minnesota winning over Nebraska, the 14th ranked in the Big Ten, they still pulled out another win.
21-20, Ohio State leading, but Iowa has the basketball. Into the game for the first time is Josh Dixon. He loses it. Bryce Sensabaugh takes it and slams it with the right hand. Josh Dix looking for a second chance. Lobs it on the right side of the floor to his teammate in Philip Rabracha. But that first possession for Josh Dix, he tried to thread it top of the key to Connor McCaffrey, and it was stolen away by Sensabaugh. Then he slams it to make it a 3-point Ohio State lead. 5.5 to go first half. ball into Rebraca, turns right, lays it up at the block, and he finishes with the right hand. 8 points for Rebraca.
And Austin talked about how Bryce Sensabaugh kind of gave away that three-point shot for Chris Murray, and on that one he was not going to allow it again, got the defensive steal and slammed it home.
23-22, Ohio State up, 5:05 to go in the first half. Sewing goes down left lane line and had it blocked by Murray. Now he sprints, now he bounce passes it to Rebraca, goes up with the right hand and throws it down.
Wow.
A thunderous finish for Rebraca, his 27th game in double figures, 24-23 Iowa. Ohio State with the basketball, 4:45 to go in the first half. Thornton the point guard, 17 points per game over his last 5. Flips inside the right corner arc to Sewing. Squares up on Murray, drives the baseline right. Pump fakes twice, looking for options. 5 to shoot. Gets it to McNeil in the right corner. Trapped by Dix. Right side follow AJ off the rim, off the backboard, and just no good. Board pulled in by Rebraca. He gets fouled underneath by Ohio State's Bryce Sensabaugh, and that's going to be the 15th foul by Ohio State in this first half as they trail by 1. McNeil coming up inches shy of regaining the Ohio State lead.
He came up inches shy, but a few feet away on that dunk. He ran right out of the paint. He does not want to be put on a poster. I mean, I don't blame him either. Rebraca came in with authority.
A thunderous finish there by Rebraca. He's going to remember that one. 1 point Iowa lead. Josh Dix into the forecourt. 6'5" freshman from Council Bluffs, Iowa. Whips it high on the right to Connor McCaffrey, defended by Likely. Bounce pass between the rings to Chris Murray. The third-team All-American scoops to the left block, gets double-teamed, stripped by Likely, falls to the hot light tan floor, and a jump ball is called. We'll see who the possession arrows favor, and then it looks like it's going to be Ohio State basketball, or at least that's what the possession arrow is signaling, and yes, that is the case. So Ice Likely forcing another Iowa turnover.
And Ohio State has been playing hard and hustling on defense right there on that double team, coming up with another steal.
Full court press from Iowa. Ball into Ice Likely for Ohio State, trapped underneath the zone hoop. Bounce pass to McNeil, has to cross the timeline, gets it on the left sideline to Sewing, and they'll low it down. Sewing with 3:50 left in the first half, Buckeyes down by 1. Thornton patrols the point. High on the right, defended by Murray at the free throw line. Bounce passes to a cutting Justice Sewing left to the rim. Touched last by Iowa's Connor McCaffrey, and we'll get immediate timeout on the floor. 3:42 to go, first half. Iowa 24, Ohio State 23 in the second round of the Big Ten Tournament on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio and SGSR TV. Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1-off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to...
24-23, Iowa leading. Ohio State will have the basketball inbounding underneath the Iowa hoop to our left. 3:42 to go, first half. Tyler Danburg, Sara Sharp, Austin Crume, Caleb Spinner with you, and we are happy to have you with us on SGSR and SGSR TV. We got the broadcaster cam going on for this second round matchup. A mix of Scarlet and Gray guys in black and gold. We've got the Iowa marching band to our left, the Ohio State marching band to our right. So a little bit of a mix compared to all red and white and gray that we saw yesterday in the Wisconsin-Ohio State game.
And you talked about Iowa and Ohio State. We even have a few others from, it looks like, Illinois and other schools coming out to watch this game tonight.
Yeah, peaks of orange, kind of like the sunshine peeking out, but of course we're inside, and even here in downtown Chicago, it's a cloudy day.
I mean, why would you not get more basketball in March? I heard some of the Illinois fans saying, hey, why would we not sit here and watch more basketball, or at least scope out the competition if there's a potential we play them later on in this tournament?
Inbounding is Thornton, surveys, has 8 on the shot clock, lobs it between the rings to Sewing, gets inside of the Big Ten Conference logo, fadeaway Jay goes for Sewing, and it's a 25-24 Ohio State lead.
Justice Sewing now with 6 points on that beautiful spin move at the foul line.
3:25 to go and ticking in the first half. Tony Perkins pushes a pass, left block extended for Connor McCaffrey. Squares up on Likely, poked away by Likely. Ball trickles over the far sideline and out of bounds. Touched last by the Ohio State grad transfer from Oklahoma State with 3:16 left on the clock.
And Austin talked a little bit how Ohio State is playing hard. They're hustling, they're getting those tips, but maybe try to get a steal and get the ball instead of tipping it out of bounds.
Left corner 3 ball, no good off the hands of Connor McCaffrey. Offensive rebound to Philip Rebracha, finds a cutting Dix to the hoop, and he finishes it home with 2 hands.
And Likely not having any points so far in this, but playing really good defense at the 2 guard, just kind of fell asleep on that play and allowed Iowa to get a really free basket.
26-25, Iowa up, 2:45 to go first half. Ohio State basketball to our left. McNeil drives, double team, right block, leading with his head, muscling it out to Okpara. Long 3 is short. The 6'11" freshman taking his 3rd 3 of the year. He's made 1, but misses there. Iowa basketball between the posts, back out right wing to Connor McCaffrey. Scoops inside, double clutching, has his pass intercepted at the right block by Ice Likely. Another steal, and there's the impact of Ice Likely.
And beautiful defense down low by Ohio State, just covering up any of their big men down low like Rebracha and getting the steal off of it.
2:15 left, first half. Buckeyes down by 1. Stolen away by Rebracha, gets clipped by Thornton of Ohio State at the blue and black Big Ten Tournament logo at half court. And so we'll see what the call on the floor is going to be. It appears to be on Rebracha instead. That's going to be his first personal, 4th as a team for the Hawkeyes. 2:07 left in the first half. And Sarah, what are you looking for Ohio State to try and regain the lead down by 1?
Ohio State continue to execute offensively, but keep playing the defense that they are too. In these last few plays, they have had solid defense inside where they've struggled to defend Rebracha and other inside players. So keep playing strong defense and score, and they'll be good to go.
Thornton contested free throw line jump shot, too short. Rebound goes to Perkins. Iowa basketball, they lead by 1. Final minute 45 left. Off-ball foul called. Whistled on Ohio State's Justice Sewing. Matched up with Chris Murray. That's been an interesting matchup to watch. Murray's got 7 points. Sewing's got 6. That's the 6th team foul, Austin, for Ohio State, but no bonus ball yet.
Yeah, that's good for Ohio State, but within the last 2 minutes, you do got to be careful here. They got to do everything they can on defense to keep this within 1 or 2 possessions, or it can get away quick.
Inbound rolls right wing to McCaffrey. Dials up a 3. Wide right of the rim. Offensive rebound, Murray. Shot clock resets. Murray right corner 3. Off the heel, and McNeil pulls in the board. 26-25, Iowa up, and the Buckeyes looking for their first points in 2 minutes.
And Iowa struggling with the three-pointer still, 2 of 9, and Chris Murray, who we know is lights out from the three-point line usually, is 1 of 5 so far this game.
Thornton catapults a right wing 3, bottom. Thornton's got the triple, and it's a 28-26 Ohio State lead.
Ohio State might have to come from the trenches in this one if they're going to be allowing open shots, but keep making ones like those, and they won't be a problem on offense.
Final minute of the half. Ball into Dix for Iowa. Outlets it high on the left to Perkins. Whips it left, free throw line extended for Murray. Sizes up a man. Across the court, right wing to Perkins. Step back, Jay is good. The crossover, the shot, and the fadeaway falls for Perkins. 35 seconds left in the half. 28-28 all.
It's going to be interesting to see if this half is going to end in a tie or if somebody's going to take the lead in these last couple seconds.
All comes down to this. There's about a 7-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Ohio State ball likely to the hoop, lays it up, gets fouled. A block on Iowa, and a fallen Hawkeye down. Appears to be Connor McCaffrey as Ice likely swooped to the hoop with 18 seconds left for the Buckeyes, and he's going to go to the line shooting 2 to try and break this 28-28 tie.
Hope he can get his first points of the game in this one. It's always somewhat difficult to do that, but he's done well on defense, so it's not that he's having a bad game. He just hasn't had the ability to wake up and get out of bed on offense.
18 seconds left, likely bends the knees, lets it fly, rolls off the rim, off the glass and down. His first point of the game, and Eugene Brown's going to check in for Sean McNeil for Ohio State. Likely had 18 points, over 10 boards in that January 24th win for Ohio State. That would have been the Buckeyes' first win and their last win, eventually leading to a 9-game losing streak, but they've started to refine their footing. Second free throw no good from Likely, and a timeout called on the floor, 16.6 seconds left, 29-28 Ohio State. And the Hawkeyes, Sarah, most likely they're going to have the last shot, and they haven't been shooting well from beyond the arc. Neither team has, just 2 of 9 for both squads, so perhaps they'll take a look inside with a guy like Philip Rebracha, who's been leading the way with 10.
And that's what has been working for Iowa so far in this game. Like you said, they're struggling from the three-point line where they're usually strong. So maybe in another scenario where they are shooting like they usually would from outside, they would take a three-pointer to end this half. But right now, Philip Rebracha has 10 points. They're playing strong inside offense and try to find somebody inside and get 2 points to take this lead at the half.
Iowa, the home team, Austin, 20 of their 28 points are in the paint.
I'm not honestly surprised. We had talked about it a lot, whether it's the pregame, the drive over here, or just by watching how the Hawkeyes play. They're going to shoot a lot of shots. And, I mean, the stat you brought up, 40-something threes, is just incredible. But you knew the hot streak had to come to an end soon. And Ohio State's been playing well, especially on defense. They have 7 steals in this one so far to Iowa's 0.
Tony Perkins into the right forecourt. Hawkeyes down by 1. 10 seconds left on the first half clock. Right wing defended by Thornton with 5. Top of the key with 3. Left wing to Murray with 2. Gets it off at the horn. No good on the 3 ball. Likely will grab the loose ball, and we will go into the half. Ohio State, the 13th seed. They lead it 29-28 over the 5th seed Iowa Hawkeyes in this second round of the Big Ten tournament. Not a bad half. It was close from wire to wire.
And Iowa there, we thought they would go inside and try to find one, but Ohio State played solid defense on that last play and forced Chris Murray to take that off-balance three-point shot for their last shot of the half.
I got to say, Justice Sewing picking up on that, realizing he has the length over Murray is exactly what you need. Get a guy and make him be a better door than a window in front of somebody on a defensive positioning like that. So you put him on him for the final shot. You go into the half up 1 point. You got to keep going. Iowa's definitely going to come out with some fire.
Bruce Thornton leads the way for Ohio State. He's got 9 for the Buckeyes, who lead at 29-28. Philip Rebracha has 10 points to go with 2 boards, and that's now 27 games for him in double figures. And Bruce Thornton, we talked about him at the top of the broadcast. He just continues his dominant stretch over the last month and a half. Came into this game shooting over 50% over his last 5 games, and he's 4 of 7 from the field today, Sarah. He's just making an impact, shooting the ball, and then dishing it out as well with 2 assists of his own.
He has, and it's just so impressive not only as a player to have 9 points so far in this game, but he's also a facilitator. And a lot of times when you have that point guard who's facilitating, they're finding open players and they don't score as much, but he has been able to not only facilitate for his team offensively, but also score as well.
Austin, the Buckeyes are looking for their 32nd Big Ten win and looking to try and pull off another tournament upset. How do they try and sustain the momentum in the second half and try and get that win?
I mean, it's hard to compare game to game. You can't really compare the Wisconsin game to today's game or even the last 2 matchups. against Iowa because the scores are so drastically different. I don't really see a team going up in the second half and putting up 65-plus points. So defense is going to be the big factor here. As much as there's a 1-point lead, Ohio State's going to have to score fast, but their defense has been very solid. You got to keep it and solidify it for the second half of the game and hopefully pull out with a win and continue to upset a lot of people.
The first two games of the season series between Iowa and Ohio State were decided by 26 and 27 points. And Sara, Iowa, they're looking to try and win their 29th Big Ten tournament game, but they're going to have to do it coming out of the half. Only trailing by 1, though. Their largest lead, however, was 5, so they were not really able to gain any separation.
And like you said, those last two games by over 20 points both times for their two last showings against each other. And Iowa is gonna have to come out here, and we know it's not a very high scoring game so far, so they have to execute. They have to do what they do best, and that is play offense, because the defense has been strong for both teams. Again, 29, 28 points, low scoring for both. So if you want to come out and take this lead against Ohio State and win, you have to execute offensively.
20 minutes until 4th seed Michigan State finds out who they will play tomorrow. But right now, Ohio State up on Iowa, the 13th seed leading the 5th, 29-28 at the half. On the other side of this break, we'll have the second half coverage and more on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio and SGSR TV. At the half, Ohio State 29, Iowa 28. Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1 off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to see you there, but for now, that's the ad. We're out of here.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Zachary Rodier here, the podcast coordinator for Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Here to tell you that if you want to listen to post-game coverage of your favorite Ohio State athletics, make sure you subscribe and listen to SGSR Recap, where post-game coverage of all the big games, including football, big hockey, basketball, and everything around, will be on SGSR Recap in case you miss post-game live on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. So make sure you listen to SGSR Recap on your favorite listening platform on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hey Buckeye fans, this is Patrick Engels, president of the Sports and Society Initiative Student Club. Are you interested in pursuing a career in sports and hearing from professionals who work in the sports industry? If so, then come find us in room 274 of the Journalism Building for SSI's bi-weekly meetings. Join us every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. to hear from qualified guest speakers who work in sports throughout Columbus, Ohio, and beyond. For questions regarding our club, please contact myself, our treasurer Jacob Benj, or our advisor Dr. Nicole Kraft. Go Bucks!
This is Matt Goldman, Vice President of SGSR, and you're listening to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, the official student radio network of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming soon to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, Season 2 of the Nothing But Nylon podcast with Gabe and Tyreek, covering all things Ohio State men's basketball.
Bringing you news, analysis, and more. Episodes will be coming to you every Tuesday starting November 1st. We hope to see you soon on Nothing But Nylon. Peace.
Hey everyone, my name is Jack Murphy, and I'm one of the co-hosts of The Nightcap, a new podcast here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Join me and my co-host Sam Cerrone every week for a discussion about the current state of sports and an interview with one of the top members of the Ohio State athletic community. We have a new podcast every Wednesday, and you can get us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Go Bucks.
Zachary Rodier here, host of 614 Check on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's Podcast Network. We're the only dedicated podcast talking about the Ohio State men's and women's ice hockey teams and the Columbus Blue Jackets. In each episode, we will cover everything you need to know in the NHL and NCAA surrounding the 614 hockey area code, and we will have exclusive interviews with the best 614 hockey personalities, including players, media personnel, and journalists. Listen to 614 Check, linktr.ee/614check, 4check spelled FORECHECK. Hope to see you there.
Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1-off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to see you there, but for now, that's the ad. We're out of here.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Zachary Rodier here, the podcast coordinator for Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, here to tell you that if you want to listen to post-game coverage of your favorite Ohio State athletics, make sure you subscribe and listen to SGSR Recap, where post-game coverage of all the big games, including football, big hockey, basketball, and everything around, will be on SGSR Recap in case you miss post-game live on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. So make sure you listen to SGSR Recap on your favorite listening platform on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hey Buckeye fans, this is Patrick Engels, president of the Sports and Society Initiative Student Club. Are you interested in pursuing a career in sports and hearing from professionals who work in the sports industry? If so, then come find us in room 274 of the Journalism Building for SSI's bi-weekly meetings. Join us every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. to hear from qualified guest speakers who work in sports throughout Columbus, Ohio, and beyond. For questions regarding our club, please contact myself, our treasurer Jacob Benj, or our advisor Dr. Nicole Kraft. Go Bucks!
This is Matt Goldman, Vice President of SGSR, and you're listening to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, the official student radio network of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming soon to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, Season 2 of the Nothing But Nylon podcast with Gabe and Tyreek, covering all things Ohio State men's basketball.
Bringing you news, analysis, and more. Episodes will be coming to you every Tuesday starting November 1st. We hope to see you soon on Nothing But Nylon. Peace.
Hey everyone, my name is Jack Murphy, and I'm one of the co-hosts of The Nightcap, a new podcast here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Join me and my co-host Sam Cerrone every week for a discussion about the current state of sports and an interview with one of the top members of the Ohio State athletic community. We have a new podcast every Wednesday, and you can get us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Go Bucks!
Zachary Rodier here, host of 614 Check on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's Podcast Network. We're the only dedicated podcast talking about the Ohio State men's and women's ice hockey teams and the Columbus Blue Jackets. In each episode, we will cover everything you need to know in the NHL and NCAA surrounding the 614 hockey area code, and we will have exclusive interviews with the best 614 hockey personalities, including players, media personnel, and journalists. Listen to 614-CHECK, linktr.ee/614-CHECK, 4check spelled FORECHECK. Hope to see you there.
Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1-off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show, presented by Barrio Tacos, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to see you there, but for now, that's the ad. We're out of here.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Zachary Rodier here, the podcast coordinator for Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, here to tell you that if you want to listen to post-game coverage of your favorite Ohio State athletics, make sure you subscribe and listen to SGSR Recap, where post-game coverage of all the big games, including football, big hockey, basketball, and everything around, will be on SGSR Recap in case you miss post-game live on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. So make sure you listen to SGSR Recap on your favorite listening platform on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hey Buckeye fans, this is Patrick Engels, president of the Sports and Society Initiative Student Club. Are you interested in pursuing a career in sports and hearing from professionals who work in the sports industry? If so, then come find us in room 274 of the Journalism Building for SSI's bi-weekly meetings. Join us every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. to hear from qualified guest speakers who work in sports throughout Columbus, Ohio, and beyond. For questions regarding our club, please contact myself, our treasurer Jacob Benj, or our advisor Dr. Nicole Kraft. Go Bucks!
This is Matt Goldman, Vice President of SGSR, and you're listening to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, the official student radio network of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming soon to Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, Season 2 of the Nothing But Nylon podcast with Gabe and Tyreek, covering all things Ohio State men's basketball.
Bringing you news, analysis, and more. Episodes will be coming to you every Tuesday starting November 1st. We hope to see you soon on Nothing But Nylon. Peace.
Hey everyone, my name is Jack Murphy, and I'm one of the co-hosts of The Nightcap, a new podcast here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Join me and my co-host Sam Cerrone every week for a discussion about the current state of sports and an interview with one of the top members of the Ohio State athletic community. We have a new podcast every Wednesday, and you can get us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Go Bucks!
Zachary Rodier here, host of 614-CHECK on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's Podcast Network. We're the only dedicated podcast talking about the Ohio State men's and women's ice hockey teams and the Columbus Blue Jackets. In each episode, we will cover everything you need to know in the NHL and NCAA surrounding the 614 hockey area code, and we will have exclusive interviews with the best 614 hockey personalities, including players, media personnel, and journalists. Listen to 614-CHECK, linktr.ee/614-CHECK, 4check spelled FORECHECK. Hope to see you there.
Barrio Tacos is now open right in the heart of the Ohio State campus at 15th and High. Serving tacos and margaritas late night each night, Barrio has an incredible happy hour with half-off margs and $1-off tacos weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget, Barrio accepts Buck ID and is offering to-go and DoorDash. You can also catch Barrio Tacos inside the shoe during game days at Section 10A and at their taco truck Mondays to Fridays, parked right outside the RPAC.
Tune into the Block O Show presented by Barrio Tacos for an inside look at the 2022-23 Ohio State football season. Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio team of football broadcasters previews each week of the Buckeyes football season, featuring opposing reporters from student journalists across the country. Listen to the Block O Show presented by Barrio Tacos every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Caleb Spinner.
And this is Tyler Danburg.
Together, we co-host the Ohio State of Mind, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio's podcast covering all things Ohio State athletics. Join us Mondays and Fridays as we recap and preview every Ohio State sporting event from the past week.
We also talk to current and former Buckeye athletes in our interview series Behind the Buckeye. Follow the Ohio State of Mind on Twitter at State of Mind OSU for more information on the show.
We hope to see you there, but for now, that's the...
Okay, we are back in the United Center as gameplay has started already. Iowa with the ball as Perkins takes a shot. It goes down low, and it is out of bounds, and it will be Iowa ball. I am Sara Sharp alongside Tyler Danburg, Caleb Spinner, and Austin Crume. Welcome back to SGSR and SGSR TV. Iowa inbounding to Chris Murray. Murray drives in, loses the ball, out of bounds, passes to Perkins, and that is taken by Bryce Sensabaugh. Bryce Sensabaugh dribbling down the left side of the court, holds it in front of the half-court line, up to Thornton at the top of the key, over to Roddy Gale on the left wing, and then Justice Suing on the right wing. Down passes a lob into Roddy Gale, barely grabs it, sends it over to the other side of the block to Felix Okpara, shoots it. It is no good. Iowa with the rebound as number one for Iowa. Ulis has the ball, passes to the top of the key to Rebracha, and then over to Connor McCaffrey to Chris Murray, who gets his second three-pointer of the night.
That's one of those guys you can't leave open. We said it, Chris Murray, all they need is one shot and Iowa will be hot. And already, after about a minute and 5 seconds, Murray's feeling it, and it might be a problem.
And there's a foul on Iowa as Ohio State will take the ball. Justice Suing inbounding to Bruce Thornton, dribbles between the legs at the top of the key, holding it. Ulis is guarding Thornton, passes to Okpara on the right wing, back to Thornton at the top of the key. Justice Suing over to Sensabaugh on the left wing, dribbles in to the elbow, pull-up jumper. It is in and out as Iowa grabs it. And it is now Rebracha with the ball, taking it down the court, over to Perkins on the right wing, up to the top of the key to Murray. Murray to Ulis, holds it, swings it back and forth, dribbles in to the elbow, and then over to Rebracha as he is in and out, and it is a travel as he tried to kind of move around on that one.
Yeah, Rebracha tried to spin there. Sarah over to his left. Okpara played a little bit contained defense, so he wasn't playing tightly on him, and Rebracha was forced to take a second guess, and he commits the travel.
And on the inbounds, Roddy Gale Jr. bounces it off of Chris Murray, so it will be Buckeyes ball underneath the Iowa hoop.
I think after a quick start to this second, we saw Ohio State do an attempt, 2 potential lobs. We haven't seen them do that much. Who knows if it's a new key?
Bruce Thornton to Sensabaugh on the right wing, dribbles into the right block and puts it up. Another 2 points for Ohio State. It is tied 31-31. Iowa now with the ball. Connor McCaffrey dribbles in to the right side block, passes back out to Rebracha, over to the left wing Ulis. Ulis dribbles into the elbow, over to the block for Rebracha, pump it up, and he is fouled on the shot.
It seemed like Okpara thinks he got all ball. All the teammates around him asking if he got it and just kind of nodding his head saying, yeah, it's all ball. But Rebracha and the rest of the guys are going to get lucky, and these are some free points. We haven't seen many charity stripe shots so far in this one, but these are crucial, and it showed, especially late in the game for Ohio State and Wisconsin yesterday.
This is actually Iowa's first attempts at the free throw line as Rebracha takes the first shot and puts it in.
That's crazy to think about with how Iowa has attacked the hoop. Ohio State slashing to the basket as well. They've only taken 4 free throws, so we've only seen 5 combined trips to the charity stripe, and that seems like that's a really low total compared to how aggressive both teams have been getting to the basket.
Ohio State basketball. Bruce Thornton taking it out of bounds underneath Iowa's hoop, passes into Justice Sewing on the right side of the court, throws it over a little too far to Bruce Thornton, able to bounce it off Iowa, but they grab it. Chris Murray on the left side puts it up at the block, no good. Thornton with the rebound, dribbling down the court to the Ohio State side. He is now on the right wing, slowly dribbling it back up to the top of the key as Ohio State sets up. Handoff to Sensabaugh, and then Roddy Gale Jr. back to Thornton at the top of the key. Screen by Okpara, tries to roll, no good. Sensabaugh now at the top of the key, in between the legs, fumbling the ball, grabs it back. He's on the right wing, over to the left side. Spin move and an off-balance jumper. That one is no good as the shot clock runs out, but Ohio State able to grab the offensive rebound. Roddy Gale, a little bit pushed, and Iowa gets the steal as Ulis goes up for the shot. It is knocked out. And a foul on Ohio State, so another opportunity for Iowa to go to the free throw line.
Looked like another potential all-ball strip here from Thornton, and it's showing it on the replay section, and some of the Ohio State fans not super happy about it, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Thornton, about a minute and a half ago, when there was a lot of carnage, was actually on the scorer's table and dove over it, going for a loose ball. And about 3 seconds later was at the other end of the court on the right wing with the ball in his possession. So he went from defense to offense in a split second without even being on the hardwood.
Yeah, Austin, if you really wanted to, if you were in attendance here, you could just follow Bruce Thornton and see where he ended up. And he ended up underneath the Iowa basket to our right.
Ulis completes one of his 2 free throws. Justice Sewing with the rebound for the Buckeyes. Bruce Thornton once again with the ball, taking it up the left side, throws it too high, and Okpara able to not once but twice dish it and get it into the basket. Another 2 points for Ohio State as Iowa is up 34-33. The Hawkeyes now with the ball. Connor McCaffrey at the top of the key, holding it in his right hand, passes to Rebracha, handoff to Chris Murray on the right side, over to the right corner. Perkins dribbles in, tries to lay it up, no good. Felix Okpara with the rebound. He is getting double teamed and trapped down low. And some solid coverage by Iowa underneath their hoop as Felix Okpara was trying to find an Ohio State offender, and it is out of bounds on Iowa.
And Sarah, I'm surprised that Chris Holtmann now calls timeout. Okpara was double clutching, he was double teamed. It could have been a travel already, and they didn't call it. They said that Okpara didn't take that extra step, but then he was getting double teamed to the left of Ohio State's own basket, so a timeout wasn't being called. And then Connor McCaffrey just couldn't keep his paws on it for Iowa, and it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and Okpara, we've said it so many times, he's not going to stuff the stat sheet. Just got his first 2 points on that double tipped-in layup, but already with 4 rebounds and a very crucial block at the beginning of the first half. So he's done very well so far, but the paint, you could see that Iowa's still crashing it, but they're also feeling more comfortable finding open looks on the floor. So Okpara might have to see if any of those potential last-second shots just fall into his hands. But if he's going to keep getting double-teamed like that, Iowa's going to realize he's not feeling comfortable if he's being pressed.
And Okpara, not specifically the player who you would want to take it up the court, so that's why he was holding it. He wasn't going to dribble. He was trying to find a player like a Bryce Sensabaugh or a Bruce Thornton to get it to. And then, like you said, Chris Holtmann called that timeout a little bit late, a little bit uncomfortable, as Okpara could have possibly lost that ball from a travel or it getting stripped out of his hands as well. So Iowa here is up 1 point, 34-33. It's been back and forth and a lot of hustle by the Buckeyes in this defense so far, especially by Bruce Thornton, who we talked about.
Yeah, but also a lot of hustle for Iowa. They went into the half 0 steals to Ohio State 7. Ohio State now has 8, and Iowa has 2. It seems like both teams have switched how they're playing on defense. Iowa is bringing way more intensity and fire and head-to-head collisions to get the ball to be loose or a potential pickup or travel, and Ohio State just looks lost. If they want to do well, they're going to have to find open looks and keep doing it, but also give that head-to-head defense and see which one can clash better. By the numbers, Ohio State should win the battle, but numbers don't mean everything.
And you know what's impressive too, Austin, is that for as much hustle that we've been seeing, give credits to both defenses to drop into their defenses, to drop into half court and to play tight, because these are two teams that like to play fast. They like to play in transition. Iowa, they lead the conference in fast break points, but they only have 3 in this game. Ohio State has 2. So give credit to, although we've had to see a lot of both teams hustling for the loose balls, making those extra plays, it's been a lot of slow offense, half-court offense, and that's made for great basketball games so far, and it's been rather low scoring.
Very low scoring for Ohio State and Iowa after their 2 high-scoring games against each other this regular season. We are back on the court. Justice Suing inbounding, looking to find an Ohio State offensive player. He finds Bryce Sensabaugh, who will take the ball up, and they are still in the back court. Bruce Thornton dribbles it over to Justice Suing as they cross half court. He is now at the left wing, takes it into the elbow, back out to Bruce Thornton at the top of the key. Bruce Thornton dribbling back to Suing on the left wing, and it is stolen by Tony Perkins by Iowa. Dribbles down to Ulis at the block, back out to Perkins, up to the top of the key to Connor McCaffrey, over to Rebracha, and then Chris Murray on the left wing. Dribbles into the elbow, crosses over, shoots, clanks it off the back of the rim, but it is an Iowa rebound as Ulis grabs it at the left corner. Moving up to the left wing, down low to Chris Murray. He settles up, spins around on Roddy Gale, shoots it, and gets the opportunity at the and 1 and 3 points.
There's the spin cycle by Chris Murray. He initially got Roddy Gale to bite and fall, but Gale stayed on him. He stays upright. Gale did had his right arm up in the air, but when Murray was on his way up, that's where he got clipped, and the concentration of strength of Chris Murray rings true as he gets the and 1.
I think before the and 1 itself, Ohio State's defense, when they were running back to make sure they could stop Iowa's offense, they looked confused, but ironically, all at the same time set into motion. There were a couple open guys, I think 2 to be exact, when they were running back, and it was a 5-on-3 Iowa leading. And about a half second later, it was back to 5-on-5. Iowa kept trying to pass around the perimeter to find a guy, and as soon as you would see an open guy, boom, man right on him. Boom, man right on him, and they would have to reset and force them to stop shooting threes and then drive into the paint again, and on that we saw a foul.
And that was one thing we were talking about at the top of the broadcast on the pregame show on SGSR and SGSR TV. And Sarah, you pointed out the fact that the Buckeyes, they need to play tight defense. Iowa, maybe defensively, they go in a little bit more and they contain, they put some pressure and make Ohio State make shots. But Ohio State defensively playing tight defense, and that's what they've been doing, especially on possessions like that where they're down in numbers. Iowa has the chance to push it, but then they stay on the perimeter, and Ohio State, they're able to latch onto that and just quickly stay on the Hawkeyes offensively.
This may not be the defensive or offensive heavy game that we thought we would see, but in the opposite, the defensive heavy game that we knew might come out of nowhere and just kind of hang on to the tails of the rest of the players. But we're not going to see, like I said, we won't see 90 points plus in this game. We may not even see 80 points or 70 points plus, just depending on how they're playing. It's such a back and forth time, and by the time a team shoots and scores, 30 seconds have already gone off the game clock. So I don't know what else you can really expect. Defense has been great so far, but Iowa's still on the lead and on the attack so far. I hope this timeout for Ohio State can allow them to recoup and resituate back on offense.
And you talked about just how strong this defensive game is. Iowa, who we know is so strong from outside the arc, is 3 of 11, 27% from the three-point line so far this game. So Austin, how has that affected their play tonight?
They have to reconsider how they're playing. They realize that just stretching the floor in any way possible isn't going to work for them the way it has. A team that averaged 80.6 points a game in the regular season is not going to get anywhere close to that, and maybe because it is the pressure on their shoulders of, hey, it's a one and done. Even if Iowa still, as of this moment, has a good shot to make it into the big dance, if you lose to an upset team like this, it may affect how you play, so they got to play with a different level of energy and intensity to retain the lead so far.
Back on the court, Chris Murray shooting a foul shot, and he makes it. And it is Ohio State ball now. Iowa up 4, 37-33. Bruce Thornton passes into McNeil, who is back in the game. Back to Thornton over top to McNeil, takes it over the half court on the right wing. Handoff to Likely on the right wing now. Up to Sensabaugh at the top of the key, holds it. dribbles in on the left side, spins over to the right at the right block, shoots. It is no good. Iowa rebound. Iowa now has it. Connor McCaffrey at the top, down to the left side block. Chris Murray, no good. Ohio State trading rebounds as they grab that one. Sean McNeil wide open on the right corner, and Iowa will pay for that as Sean McNeil gets 3 more points for the Buckeyes. 37-36, Iowa up.
That's a specialty, Sarah. The corner three-pointer off the catch, a quick little collection, a release, and then it goes down.
Iowa now with the ball as Perkins passes in to Rebracha, and he's able to spin off his defender and shoot it from the inside.
Sewing tried to get the steal on that one, and in the case went behind Rebracha, so Rebracha was kind of holding him back with his might, and it allowed him to just get a free basket in the paint.
Sensabaugh dribbles in from the right corner, and he is fouled on the take. Is a blocking foul here, and that is Iowa's second foul, of this second half.
Tyler had said it. This has been such a physical game that seeing only this amount of free throws, 21 combined for both teams, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more than this at this point.
Ohio State inbounding underneath their basket. It is passed in to Thornton at the right corner, and he takes it up to the top of the key, passes it back over to the elbow. Thornton with the up and under push, and another 2 points for Thornton.
Strong ball fake there by Thornton, able to get the defenders to bite.
And it is double digits for Bruce Thornton now for Ohio State. Iowa has the ball. It is Rebracha once again on the inside, tries to take that baby hook over with his right. Not able to as it clanks off the back of the rim. The Buckeyes grab the rebound. Sewing with the ball, hand off to Thornton, and then McNeil on the right wing shoots that jumper at the elbow as he takes it in. Another 2 points for McNeil.
Silky smooth for him at this point. Got to get him hot fast.
Ohio State up by 1 point now, 40-39, as Perkins takes it right inside of the foul line, shoots and is fouled.
And there's the response for Iowa. The Buckeyes have gotten a couple quick pull-up shots from inside, 15 feet out. So Perkins responds with one of his own. Got hacked from behind by Thornton and is able to just put it in. Pretty easy finish there for Perkins, a guy who's an honorable mention all Big Ten.
Perkins with the opportunity at 3 points, and he completes as Iowa now has the lead, 42-40. This game is back and forth.
Both teams also playing full court press with 13 minutes or so to go in this. They're playing to see what they can do quickly, as it's always a one possession game.
Sean McNeil with the ball, passes to Sensabaugh on the left side, and he executes the jumper right outside of the block. 2 points for Ohio State, tied at 42. Perkins now with the ball on the right wing, between the legs, over to the right side, and then back passes it to Rebracha on the right wing, over across court to Murray on the left wing, and then down to the block, as that is Sanford, who then passes into Rebracha, loses it a little bit, able to passes it out to Perkins. Perkins takes the shot, no good. Ohio State with the rebound, that is ice likely. Justice Sewing now dribbles down, pulls it back out to the top of the key, out to McNeil now on the right wing, crossover, and a three-point shot quick by McNeil. That one bounces off, but Bryce Sensabaugh is right there to put it back in.
Just an unbelievable mid-air finish there by Sensabaugh. McNeil, a contested three, a little wide left to the rim, and Sensabaugh twisting, readjusts, and scores.
Now on the left corner, and that is Patrick McCaffrey with a three-pointer. Iowa a little bit slow from the three-point line, but he finishes one for the Hawkeyes as they are up 45-44.
You can see Ohio State is trying to do everything they can after scoring to stay well on defense, but just being overpowered a bit.
And that is Bryce Sensabaugh, who tries to take the right corner three. It is too strong, but Ohio State gets the rebound, and they are gifted with 2 points by Bruce Thornton on that second chance shot. Iowa now with the ball. Perkins takes it up with his left hand. Beautiful layup by Tony Perkins. Iowa takes the lead once again, 47-46.
Sarah, I'm not sure if either team can miss right here. This is all efficiency.
This is exactly what we expected. A lot of offense back and forth by both of these teams as Thornton has the ball, dribbles it in between his legs at the top of the key to the left elbow, shoots off tempo, banks it in. And Ohio State now takes the lead back 48-47. This is just back and forth for both teams.
Thornton already has 15 points, which is what he's been averaging around now the past 6 games. And at this point, he's just feeling so hot. Alpharetta, Georgia might be the new hotbed of college basketball products down south. Who knows, the way he's playing, his ideal and mentality at this point is when push comes to shove, I'm going to throw you.
Alpharetta, the new spring break capital of the world, question mark. But you know what? It's been very impressive to see the way both offenses have erupted. We were talking about how much of a defensive battle this was, but now we've seen the physicality stay the same, and now the offenses have started to emerge, which have been the trademarks of these two teams. These are two top 25 efficient offenses in the country. Iowa at number 3, Ohio State at 22nd. So you know that these squads, it was just a matter of time before they were going to bring it offensively, and the quality of shots we've seen go in. The shot selection has stuck out in the first couple of minutes of this half.
The offense so strong this second half. Both teams under 30 points, now pushing 50 with only 9 minutes into this second half.
I'm really not surprised that it has been just back, forth. It seems like Iowa scores, and then 3 seconds later, Ohio State is back in Iowa's defensive paint scoring their own, and vice versa. Just keep going back, forth. No many times you can see how it's going to go. I could easily see a game like this come down to a final shot, and I also would not really be surprised if we see some overtime basketball. The first time that would happen in this tournament so far. Free basketball, everyone loves it, but with how close this is, you know either team wants to finish it without going to extras.
And we know now this is a back and forth game. Tyler, what for one team to come out here and start to like push away or gain a bigger lead, what are they going to have to come out here and do? Because we know that their offense is executing, but it's back and forth. It's going to be close. How do you make this game not close for either Iowa or Ohio State?
Attacking the paint, Sarah. I think it comes down to getting points in the lane. Ohio State outscoring Iowa in the paint by a narrow margin of 30-28. So when you look at it, that's 58 combined points of the 95 that we've seen in this game. So over half the points in this ballgame have been inside the key area. So I think it's going to come down to who can widen the margin of getting chances inside. That's going to win this matchup.
Yeah, just 7 threes combined for both teams. Just to look at numbers alone, Ohio State only averages 6.6 a game. So it's like only Ohio State is shooting and having an above average game for such a good team like Iowa, who's known to just go out and can give you 12 threes made in a game. Defense has been key, but within the last 3 to 4 minutes, offense has gotten the overdrive.
Iowa, who usually is so strong from the three-point line, 4 of 13 shooting tonight, which has made this game a closer game so far as both teams are approaching back onto the court. It is Iowa basketball underneath of the Ohio State hoop. They will take it out of bounds as Murray will pass in to Perkins. Perkins dribbling up the left side of the court with his right hand, crosses over to the left, passes up to Sanford, and then over to the left wing, back to Perkins, down low to Murray. Murray now up at the elbow, out to Perkins at the top of the key. Perkins over to the right wing and down low to Sanford. Now dribbling back out to McCaffrey. McCaffrey shoots a three-pointer, clanks it off the rim, but it's an Iowa rebound, and Perkins hustles and gets the 2 points off a layup for Iowa. Ice likely taking the ball up the court for the Buckeyes. Passes to Sean McNeil at the top of the key to the right wing, Sewing. Sewing dribbling to the left side, and then passes to Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh driving in to the right corner, looks around, sees nothing, passes to Sewing on the left wing, down to the corner to Eugene Brown, who takes a three-point shot, and that is no good. And then on the scuffle, it will be a foul.
Seems like an over-the-back foul there on Sensabaugh, trying to get another rebound, which would be his 5th, hitting around his average. But I got to say, Iowa's defense, they saw Eugene Brown open in the corner and said, go, heat check it, we don't care. And he tried, but to no avail.
Sensabaugh now with 3 fouls, so expecting to see him maybe take a seat for a while as Iowa has the ball. Patrick McCaffrey on the left block, spins around out to Sanford, then to Perkins on the left wing, dribbles between the legs up to the top of the key, back over to McCaffrey, dribbles in from the left corner. He is stuffed by Sensabaugh, but grabs the ball and shoots and scores.
That's a heads-up pursuit by McCaffrey. A great block by Sensabaugh, but McCaffrey goes back to regain it, and then he has to quickly put up a 3 with the shot clock winding down.
9 minutes, 40 seconds left in this second half. Iowa up 51-48. Buckeyes ball. Sean McNeil shoots from the left corner, and he is good for another triple.
That's his bread and butter. You know what you're going to get from him. You can't leave him open in the corner. That man is a sniper from over in that range.
McNeil now 13 points for the Buckeyes, another double-digit game 2 days in a row. Iowa has the ball as Perkins goes up to shoot on the left side layup, and he is fouled. He will have another opportunity at the free throw line.
There's the backdoor cut that Iowa's been going to with Rebracha, and then this time it's Tony Perkins off the feed from Rebracha with his back to the hoop on Brown. Had to kind of flip it behind his back and get it to Perkins, but that's a nifty V-cut there by Perkins.
Perkins breaks the 51-51 tie and puts Iowa up by 1, 52-51 with his first made free throw.
Perkins is a guy who averages 12.4 in the regular season, so him already hitting this with about 9.5 minutes to go or so, he might be looking for more, and if he's still feeling it, they're going to keep feeding it to him.
Perkins 2 for 2 on his free throws. He now has 14 points to tie with Rebracha for the Hawkeyes. Buckeyes inbound to Ice, likely taking the ball up the court. He's got 2 on him in the backcourt, and Iowa with strong defense as Peyton Sanford lays it down for the dunk off that steal. Ohio State now quickly back in the out of bounds and passes back in. Ice likely takes it down the court as they break the press easily that time at the top of the key. Likely dribbles looking as Ohio State sets it up. Passes over to the right wing. McNeil to Sewing at the bottom corner, and he executes a three-pointer. Ohio State now down 1, 55-54. Iowa dribbling the ball to the right wing is Perkins once again. Passes to McCaffrey at the top of the key to Sanford on the left wing, down to Rebracha, up and under. Beautiful shot by Philip Rebracha. Rebracha down low.
Ohio State's defense is going for too many steal attempts at this point, and it's allowing Iowa to get free plays. As much as you want the steals, you don't need them. You need stops.
Likely with the ball once again facilitating for the Buckeyes, dribbles down to the right block, spins around, up, under, shoots it. Great defense by Iowa as they grab the rebound. Sanford to Perkins, and then tries to pass it in to Murray. It is no good. It is stolen by Ohio State. Justice Sewing now has the ball at the right corner, right inside of the three-point line. Dribbles in, spin move, and a shot, left-hand shot. It is no good. Bounces off the front of the rim. Good defense by Perkins as he has the ball now in front of the three-point line. Takes a shot of his own. And that one will not finish. And the Buckeyes with another rebound.
And neither team were able to execute on the last 3 possessions. So this is where, if you're Ohio State, you just slow things down and see if you can get anything open. Shot selection's key, down by 3.
7 minutes left in this game. Iowa up 57-54. Beautiful pass by Likely, but Eugene Brown tries to take the shot from the right wing. Not able to make that one, but it was a foul. And we are now at a timeout, another timeout. There's been a lot of them in this second half so far, but it's been back and forth, so it is expected.
Yeah, and before we go to Caleb for another trivia question, Eugene Brown only shot 8 free throws up to this point, but shooting 62%. He's 5 of 8, so it is a good thing to see, but he's one of those guys who, if it comes down to it, you don't want him at the charity stripe.
And now we're going to turn to Caleb Spinner, our big-time producer, to give us another trivia question.
Okay, so one of our things on our to-do list to do before we leave the arena is to get you guys some, may I say, fairly awesome-looking hot dog shirts. But one of the other things to do is find the Jordan statue that is currently sporting a Big Ten jersey. There are 3 other statues inside or outside the United Center. Who are they?
You would do that to me because I know they're both Blackhawks
There
players.
are,
they're both the two Blackhawks.
there was one
Pictures
basketball
of them.
player. There are 2 Blackhawks players.
I don't
you
remember
took-
the name.
I've said both of the Blackhawks players' names already.
One is Alex something, right?
Nope.
One starts with an S. There's an S in there.
Yep, there's an S1.
If Tyler was here, he's dying.
The
over
basketball
here. He
player
knows this
also
one.
starts with an S, for the record.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta look.
S.
Glenn
Is
Hall?
there anybody?
Bobby Hall is there.
So that's one. Bobby Hull's one.
Bobby Hall is
Okay.
there. And only because we're running out of time here, Stan Mikita.
Oh, there he is. I just
He's
looked
right
at it.
there, yeah.
See,
The banner is
the
hanging up
58
right in front of
banners
us.
in here. We could have used our context clues, but man.
Too late. We were doing too well at the trivia questions.
So there you go. There's all 4.
What are
That's
we, like, what are
that's
we,
the
1 for
furthest from
3?
a right answer you guys have been, and honestly, I think that's impressive.
So what are we,
done
1
well.
for 3 at this point?
I'll say 1.5.
All
I'll
right,
say
well,
1.5.
You got the Billy Joel
Yeah,
one.
you were
so-
close on the banners.
I'll count
so-
the half for the 1 point off. For the
Okay,
1 point
fine.
off on the banners.
We could take that. That's like a 57%. I'm more than fine with that.
We named almost all the statues, so
There's
we
a-
were close,
1 of 3. We got Scottie Pippen.
We did. All right, well, we are in timeout here again after our trivia question. And we have Tyler back with us as well. And it's a close game still, 57-54. Another timeout called here in this game. And Austin, what are you seeing right now that's given Iowa this lead?
They've just seen more prestige when holding the ball. They seem more confident as well. They came out of the half. I actually saw some of the Iowa players getting over towards the scorer's table and looking at some of the Ohio State players and talking to them and kind of laughing. So I don't know if it's a friendly rivalry and trash talk, or if they're actually just kind of communicating just about how the game's going and everything. But they just seem way more confident on their defense and on the offensive side of the ball as well.
We are back on the court, Ohio State and Iowa. Eugene Brown III to shoot free throws for the Buckeyes. He shoots his first, and it is good. Now 55-57, Iowa up.
Now 6 of 9 on this season, but 100% in the playoffs, so that's what matters.
His second shot's up, and no, it is 1 of 2 for Eugene Brown. Ohio State now 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Iowa grabs the rebound. It is Connor McCaffrey. And then a bounce pass to Murray over to Sanford at the foul line. Passes into Rebracha, who loses the ball. Is a scram between Sewing and Murray. And a jump ball. Looks like possession will go to the Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's a great scrum there. Yeah, Austin, just a great scrum. What'd you see there when we saw pretty much 2 Buckeyes and 2 Hawkeyes converge?
It's honestly like 2 wrestlers at a wrestling meet. You just see them holding onto each other and just looking at the ref and hoping that he gives the ball their way when it goes to the jump ball.
Possession actually going to Ohio State. Thornton once again taking the ball up the court for the Buckeyes. Dribbles to the left wing and then over to the other side of the court. Passes to Sewing at the left wing. Holds it to his right hip. Shoots it from inside. No good, but Okpara grabs the rebound. Roddy Gale Jr. tries to pass it to Okpara there. It is knocked away by Iowa and out of bounds.
So Felix Okpara reached over the shoulders of Peyton Sanford. That would have been an over-the-back foul if he actually went over the back. He just reached over, extended that 6'11" length, and reached over Sanford to keep it alive.
There's where that length is so key for the Buckeyes as they inbound it to Sewing, then to Thornton at the top of the key. And Iowa's not happy as there's a foul called as Thornton started to lose the ball a bit there.
Almost could have been a travel. By the way, he was trying to hold the ball in his hands but also stay up. He wasn't too happy, but Coach Holtmann just had Okpara run over to him near the bench and kind of talk to him like, stay locked in. That's what we need you to do. We get it's a big stage, but if you stay locked in and do things like you did with the blocks and key rebounds, we could win this.
Roddy Gale Jr. looking to find Thornton for the inbounds. He does far into the backcourt. Passes back to Roddy Gale on the right side, takes it to the top of the key, sends it over to Okpara on the right wing, back to Gale at the top of the key, dribbles in on the right side, up and in. Beautiful right-handed layup by Roddy Gale Jr. Iowa now with the ball. Perkins cross court to the left corner for Connor McCaffrey, who then passes in to Rebracha and not able to make that shot, but he will get an opportunity at the line.
Okpara with the foul, his second in this one so far. So they're going to need him to kind of cool down a little bit with about 6 minutes left to go and it being tied and with the potential to go to overtime. If you lose your only true big man on the roster, that's where Iowa will get you.
Rebracha perfect from the foul line today. Now 3 of 3 as he makes the first. And Iowa in the bonus. Shoots his second. It is nothing but net. Iowa now up 59-57 against the Buckeyes.
Sorry, Sarah. Hawkeyes have been getting most of their looks to the free throw line as of late. They still have not sunk a field goal in the last 2.5 minutes.
Ohio State now with the ball. Roddy Gale taking the point guard position as he bounce passes to Okpara on the right wing up to Gale once again. Goes up for another right-hand layup. That one is denied by Iowa. As passed down to Perkins, and he tries to get Murray on that alley-oop. It is no good. Bounces off the backboard. Ohio State grabs the rebound. Bruce Thornton now holding the ball, watching as his teammates get set up. At the top of the key, he dribbles over to the right wing and then back over to the left. Bounce pass inside and at the foul line for Bryce Sensabaugh, dribbles it down strong and gets 2 points from the left block right before the shot clock expires.
You said it right there, strong. That was the strength of Sensabaugh. Slip past Connor McCaffrey, who tried to take the charge, but Sensabaugh, all he had to do was just lay it in.
Tied now 59-59, Iowa with the ball, passes into Murray, gets a nice left-handed scoop on the left side. Another 2 points for Chris Murray. Ohio State now inbounding underneath the Iowa basket. Thornton taking it up the court. He still has 15 points for the Buckeyes. A great game so far. McNeil back in. Top of the key, holds it over to Roddy Gale on the right corner. Roddy Gale dribbling between the legs. Up, pumps it up, and another 2 points for Gale. He's been strong taking it to the basket.
Gale with the pump fake on that one, and it got the defender who was on him as Rebracha. He kind of looks silly jumping around.
Roddy Gale Jr. with his first 4 points in these last couple of minutes. Connor McCaffrey has the ball, passes to the right wing. Perkins over to McCaffrey once again. Bounce pass into Rebracha, takes it up strong from the center, bounces off the back of the rim, a little too strong for Rebracha. Ohio State comes down with the ball.
Okpara's defense on that was perfect. Hands were up, so it couldn't have been a foul if he had to jump, and jumped straight up. No one was getting over that frame.
And then he was clapping Austin, fired up after he got that stop.
As he should be.
Tied game once again, 61-61. Roddy Gale with the three-point shot from the left wing. He's been hot. 7 points now for Roddy Gale in the last couple of minutes.
Ohio State looking to extend their lead, and Iowa has to take a timeout. They're not feeling it.
The Buckeyes up 64-61 now with 3 minutes, 17 seconds left in the game as this media timeout goes. And Roddy Gale has been hot. He didn't have any points in the first half, and then he has 7 quick in these last couple of minutes.
He has 7 here. You got to give him as well. 1 steal and 3 rebounds. And that was his first 3. He's not known as one of the guys who's going to give you beyond the arc range, but he's got an open looks that he's considered where he would pump fake and jab inside, finally feeling confident that he's getting room and showing the Hawkeyes that they can't leave him open, especially with him 7 straight points. He's going to get these crucial minutes with the last 3, especially with only 2 personal fouls as well.
And those 7 points are the most that Gale has scored since the 86-70 loss at Indiana in Bloomington on January 28th. And that 3 that he took, guys, that was all confidence. That was generated after those 2 drives to the hoop. He got those 2 buckets. He started to really handle the ball a little bit more, so that he got the confidence to let it fly from the right wing and hit it.
And a huge three-point shot there by Roddy Gale Jr. as it puts the Ohio State Buckeyes up by 3.
Yeah, Ohio State is actually looking more comfortable attempting beyond the arc shots. It seems like Rebraca has done so well in this game so far with 18 points in 33 minutes. They're going to keep feeding him inside for baby hooks or try to see if he can get Akpara to foul him or break his ankles in some sort of way. So Ohio State is actually switching the way they play, and Ohio State realizing that Iowa is also switching their perimeter shots to interior shots, and that allows defense to be switched on the fly with high flying intensity.
And you talked about switching from outside to an inside game for Iowa. They're at 28%, 4 of 14 from the three-point line. Ohio State 6 of 16, a higher percentage than Iowa, 37%. So do you expect to see some more three-point shots from Ohio State, or do you think keep it inside because it's working?
Well, obviously that three-point shot makes you think that they can get the confidence to hit from long range, 6 of 16 from long distance, but I think it comes down to just shot selection. If you can take the right shot now, it all comes down to sustaining leads for Ohio State and for Iowa, just trying to stay within this one-score realm and then try and get themselves a big run. But it comes down to making the right shot and taking the right shot.
The situation in this one so far, when we were at 3 minutes and 17 seconds in yesterday's game against Wisconsin, Ohio State's main idea was waste clock and play the best defense of your life. And this one, I think it's the complete opposite. Score as fast as you can and make the clock seem like it's going milliseconds at a time and not seconds at a time. Because if they keep scoring and keep doing as well as they have, their defense has been set in stone for most of this one. They just got to go at it on the offensive side.
10 players back on the court. Iowa ball. Patrick McCaffrey with the ball at the elbow. Back out to his brother Connor. Now on the right wing, over to Perkins on the left wing. Perkins dribbles in, takes a right-handed shot on the left side, and he executes to put Iowa only down by 1.
That's a tough finish for Perkins. You go to that opposite side, but there's the strength of the right hand, and he's able to lay it in.
Ohio State now, Thornton has the ball at the top of the key, dribbling around to waste some time, passes down to Sewing in the right corner, who moves in hard to the left side, tries to put a shot up, but solid defense by Iowa and Chris Murray there.
Murray looked real good. That was actually the inverse of what we saw at the end of the first, and Murray actually has a cut on the left side of his face and is bleeding, just kind of going through it, showing that might be an intimidation factor. If you're bleeding and you're showing your opponent you're still going for it, that's a scary thing to see.
Buckeyes inbounding from underneath their basket. Low shot clock. Bruce Thornton tries to take the shot from the right corner. It is too strong as Iowa grabs the rebound, and Perkins going to go up again on that left side. He doesn't make it, but he gets the opportunity for a foul shot.
That's not a good look, especially on a guy like Akpara. He's not trying to get a foul on that. That's his third now, so they really do have to look with 2 minutes and 26 to go here in the second half. He just kind of stood still and got run into by Perkins. Not really much you could do on it, but just hope that Perkins misses, because if he makes them both, they're up by 1.
Perkins now perfect from the free throw line, 3 of 3, as he misses his first shot, and perfect no more. Gears up for the second shot, dribbles with his right hand and shoots it, and he is 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Those are huge shots to make at this point in the game.
Ball don't lie.
Ohio State now has it. It is Gale at the top of the key, between the legs, left-hand pass to Akpara on the right wing, back up to Roddy Gale Jr. Dribbles, crossover, loses it, but able to grab it once again, tries to hand it off to Sean McNeil. Bit of a scrum there by Ohio State, as Justice Sewing has it on the right corner and has to shoot it fast, and he is able to let off that left-handed three-point shot. Another 3 points for Ohio State.
Just a step back three ball from the left corner. A last desperation heave, and it was nothing but the bottom of the cup for Sewing.
That's a shot you don't see him take as much as you'd want. Ohio State was fumbling the ball a couple of times through multiple different players. So when there were 3 seconds left and Sewing fumbled, it seemed like it would be a turnover, but a step back Harden-esque J, and you can't stop a man like that.
And that is exactly what Ohio State wants to see from a leader like Justice Sewing in this close game, as now it is foul shots by Ribracha, who has been so strong for Iowa today. His 19th point on his first foul shot. Ohio State up 67-64, a minute 45 left. Shoots his second shot, and again, he stays perfect from the free throw line, 6 of 6.
Those are 2 big free throws for Iowa. You pull back in within 1 score. You don't have to worry about fouling at all. You just got to get a defensive stop here and go to work.
Buckeyes with the ball. Thornton dribbling down the left side of the court as he now passes up to Roddy Gill Jr. at the top of the key. Holds the ball. Ohio State setting up. And there's a timeout called by Chris Holtmann.
So here we go, Buckeyes chances. Ohio State has traveled well, about a 6-hour drive from Columbus to here in the Windy City, but you can hear it way more than you did yesterday. You can also see which fans are Ohio State fans. You can see them in red compared to the yellow and black of Iowa, but it seems like the momentum shift might be coming to an end with a potential timeout here from Holtmann. But like you guys had said, defense at this point is what's going to win it. You have 1 possession to do what you can with a minute 34 left in this one. You don't want to go to overtime. But if you are down at this point, whether it's Iowa or Ohio State, you've got to make sure you get to overtime.
And the Buckeyes are without a timeout for the final minute 34, guys. And then Iowa and Fran McCaffrey, they do have 2 timeouts, but this is where we start to really see the strategy and the unpredictability of March. Anything can happen. We know that. This is March. But this is where we start to see things go possession by possession. You just have to play the situation and see how it unfolds.
I think also for Ohio State, on their disregard, they have 9 fouls. 1 more, and Iowa's in the double bonus, so 2 free throw shots instead of the normal 1 from being in the bonus, while Iowa only has 4. So Ohio State would need way more fouls in the next minute to be in their own bonus.
And the Hawkeyes have to be careful because they only have 4 fouls as a team, so there might be a lot of fouls to give if they do have to send Ohio State to the free throw line.
A hack-a-shack kind of a situation?
You never know. Of course, it's a 2-point game, so Sarah, I'm sure Iowa doesn't have to worry about fouling anytime soon, but just in case, they might need a couple to give.
Just in case, like you said, they have a few to give. So sitting in a more comfortable spot than the Buckeyes on that area, as the Buckeyes do have the ball. Bruce Thornton at the top of the key, over to Sean McNeil on the right wing. He spins it around, double-teamed up top, but able to get away, passes out to Thornton. Thornton drives in, puts it up on the right side, and gets another 2 points for the Buckeyes. A strong take by Bruce Thornton.
Looked like he was going to go for the attempted 3, jab step, and ran to the right side of the paint in the right block, and a fadeaway layup off the glass went in.
Ohio State up 4, 69-65, itching at 1 minute left in the game. Connor McCaffrey passes down to the left corner to Murray. Murray spins around and gets a left-hand shot up and banks it in his own.
That's a really tough finish for Murray, just spinning away, but he got it to go.
Buckeyes passing in. They are now being full court pressed by the Hawkeyes, and Iowa is not happy as number 1, Ulis, is fouled against Sean McNeil, just trying to play defense.
Ohio State, they definitely want that to go the other way. But this is not a good situation for either team. Iowa does have fouls to give, though.
Roddy Gale Jr. passes in to Thornton, still taking the ball. As he dribbles on the right side, his back over to Perkins with his right hand as he holds it. No contact right now. Running out the clock, 40 seconds left. The Buckeyes up 2 points. Passes to Roddy Gale on the left wing, who drives in strong. And Roddy Gale, another powerful take by him. He has really come alive in the second half.
We're seeing these freshmen, Sarah, in such a delicate situation, season on the line, not be afraid to go to the goal. And that's something we've seen from the outside looking in of Ohio State all season long, is the fearlessness of these first years, and Roddy Gale embodying that. And Iowa, they played that well defensively, but then he had to get to the rack, and then that's where you kind of send him to the line and force him to make these shots.
Roddy Gale is one of these guys as a freshman who you see and you're like, oh, he's not going to give us a lot of points. But if you are Ohio State, you are blessed that he's at the free throw line for you, shooting 80% exactly before this game started and only getting better.
That 80% showing so far as he is 1 for 1 and now 2 for 2 from the free throw line. And there's 9 points for Roddy Gale Jr. and the Buckeyes. Ohio State up 71-67, 30 seconds left. Perkins trying to make something happen. Chris Murray looking for a huge three-point shot. It is no good on the right corner, but Iowa grabbing the rebound. Perkins once again looking for his own three-point shot. No good. Iowa grabs the ball and is fouled down low.
The defense by Ohio State on that was very good, given the circumstances on it. You know that Iowa is looking to get any shots they can, and McNeil attempts to get the rebound over Sanford, but just smacks him on the left forearm. So for Iowa, you're lucky you get more points, but there are 20 seconds left.
That was a smart foul because you always want to foul up 4 late because that takes away the chance of a 3-point play. So if that were intentional by McNeil, that's a pretty intelligent foul.
Sanford taking his second shot. He is 2 for 2. Putting Iowa up another 2 points closer to the Buckeyes. 71-69 now is the score with 20 seconds left.
The starters coming in now for Iowa. This is crunch time. They need their best guys on the floor.
Sewing is inbounding for Ohio State. He loses it as he tries to pass it in, but grabs it and then passes to Thornton, who tries to take it up the left side of the court, loses it himself. Huge scramble here on the court. Not really sure what happened on that play as Bruce Thornton tried to dribble it up the left side of the court, loses the ball, and it goes out of bounds.
So let's get things started. The ball is loose. Justice Sewing races for it at half court. It caroms right into the hands of Ohio State's Bruce Thornton. He takes it down right in the lane. Chris Murray sprawls for the loose ball. He loses the handle. It was touched by Roddy Gale of Ohio State. It rolls over the right baseline, and then the head referee, Dorsey, in this game, Brian Dorsey, signals kickball violation on Iowa's Chris Murray. My goodness, what a progression of plays there with 11 seconds left.
I think the best part of this, if you are Ohio State, right, you want to make sure, if you can, 100% have the ball in your possession. But you got to look at it on the bright side. That entire mismatch of what just happened on both sides of the court wasted 15 seconds. There's only 11 and a half seconds left in this one with Ohio State up by 2. But this is Iowa, the team that is known to shoot threes, a team that is going to be cold in these low leverage, high coverage situations. They're going to have to force up a 3 in Ohio State's defense. They cannot foul a 3, because if they do, that's 3 free shots. And if it's on a 3-point shooter, he can be almost guaranteed to make those free throws.
And the Hawkeyes, they're certainly a team that they can come back. A couple weeks ago against Michigan State, they became the 4th team in D1 history to trail by 11-plus points and win with under a minute remaining. So they are no stranger to making those last-minute comebacks.
And you can't count Iowa out because they have been pulled from the 3-point line, but we know how strong they have been the rest of the season, and they're down 2 points right now. So there's no saying they won't come out here and get hot when they need to from the 3-point line.
And Ohio State lucky they have the ball in their possession.
Roddy Gale Jr. inbounding for OSU, looking for someone, finds Justice Sewing on a huge lob pass, and he is fouled. Started to get a little bit worried there, Ohio State did, as it was getting close to 5 seconds. Solid defense by Iowa.
And the Hawkeyes, they played really good defense off the inbounds there, and Ohio State, they don't have any timeouts. Roddy Gale just floats it up to Justice Sewing, and he almost had an open path to the basket.
Sewing was in a similar situation yesterday in the final 15 or so seconds. Shot 4 free throws, missed the first on both attempts, but banked in the second on both. So he went 2 for 4 in crunch time. You got to have him at least make one here, if not both.
Crowd is getting loud. We know yesterday Sewing struggled from the 3-point line, but he does not right now as he makes another crucial foul shot for Ohio State. His first foul shot of the game. And now we'll call it timeout here before Justice Sewing's second foul shot.
That's like icing the kicker in football before the field goal unit comes out, before Justice Sewing can take the second free throw that can either give Ohio State a 2-score lead or keep it at a 3-point Ohio State lead. Fran McCaffrey calls T.O.
Yeah, the 6-year veteran, he's a guy in a situation like this, you know there's nerves everywhere, but he's got to lock in, because if he misses, Iowa's going to get the ball and use their last potential timeout to make sure they can get to the second half of the court without wasting time dribbling it up. But if Sewing can make this, they need 4 to tie. And that would need another foul on an Ohio State player, and they are now in the bonus, so they will get a free shot.
Like you said, he has to make this, to make it not a one-possession game here, because if he misses, Iowa has the opportunity to tie this up. Justice Sewing at the line, left-handed, 6-year veteran. Dribbles once, twice, 4 times, and shoots, and it is good. Ohio State now up 4 points, 73-69, 9 seconds left. Iowa rushing it down the court. It is Perkins with the ball in his hands as he passes to McCaffrey at the top of the key, takes a 3-point shot, bounces it off. Iowa gets the rebound, tries to put it in, and no good. Time runs out. Ohio State wins 73-69.
Upset here in Chicago. Who counted the 13 seed out, going to face Michigan State for the 3rd time this season?
Wow, and a close game down to the end, 73-69, and we talked a lot in the pregame about just how high scoring these two teams are, and this game was not nearly as close as their other 2 games in scoring. Tyler, what kind of difference do you think defense made in this scoring?
Defense was absolutely the difference, because Iowa, they had just 3 more turnovers than Ohio State did. But that's 3 more defensive takeaways for Ohio State. That's 3 extra possessions right there. And when you look at a game that was separated by just 2 possessions, that shows you how much those differences were, because there wasn't a lot of separation between these 2 teams. It was even for pretty much from the opening tip to the final buzzer. And that's what makes a great college basketball game. That's exactly what we saw here in Chicago.
I said it yesterday, offense puts butts in seats, but defense is what wins championships. And Ohio State is keeping their championship potential for the Big Ten on the line, but they got some difficult games coming up.
Absolutely, and just as Austin said, defense wins championships, but there was strong offense by players on both sides of the court today. Austin, can you touch on some of the key players for both Iowa and Ohio State?
I got to look at 3 guys for Ohio State. Thornton played like a dog again. McNeil, another back-to-back double-digit game. And Sewing, the veteran, they need him to do incredible things, and he does it. And then for Iowa, you knew Rebracha was incredible. Perkins was 16. Murray was 17. Murray hit his over for what he normally averages, but seems sort of cold for a lot of it. And I think that's what gave Ohio State that edge up, and which is what allowed them to win the game.
That's the key, Austin. Chris Murray was 3 points below average. He was 2 rebounds below average, and he played a great game, but Ohio State limited him to what he's used to having in a normal game. And I think that's the key, stopping Chris Murray in some capacity and forcing him to 7 of 17 shooting was one of the key differences as well.
And Tyler, one of the big talking points was the pressure on the 4 freshmen who are starting for Ohio State. Roddy Gale Jr. had 9 points. Felix Okpara, 2 points, 5 rebounds, as well as Bryce Sensabaugh, 16 points, 4 rebounds. And just obviously in the first game, there wasn't as much pressure on Ohio State. They were the lower seed. If they came in, it was an upset. If not, it is what it is. But here tonight, more pressure on these freshmen. Can you just talk about the performance that they had and how they dealt with the pressure?
I think it starts with Roddy Gale. 9 crucial points. The 3 buckets that he had and then 2 free throws came at such crucial times, all in the second half. And that's where we saw him come out of his shell a little bit. The most points he has scored since having 12 against St. Francis of Pennsylvania back in early December, and it came at a big time. And then all in all, we just saw these freshmen step up and come up big in times when it was needed most. Bruce Thornton commanded the point. He ran the point. Bryce Sensabaugh played a key role, especially in that first half, and then he was crucial on the glass. So it just comes down to seeing these first years step up when the stage is the biggest and the lights are the brightest. And we saw exactly that this afternoon.
Being 0-2 against Michigan State, for Ohio State, they got to smell blood in the water fast. And luckily for them, they are going to be a team that people are going to doubt out, which is why yesterday you win the game, you finally get the attention. You beat a team like Iowa, really good defense, and now you really get some more national attention. And you have another game tomorrow at 1:30 Central against Michigan State, a team that is notorious for incredible tournament basketball and big dance performances. Ohio State's got to go out and think, we are the odd man out. We shouldn't be here, but let's keep our streak alive.
And Ohio State, as Austin said, to play against Michigan State here again tomorrow in the United Center after their 73-69 win against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Kicking off next here in the United Center is Illinois versus Penn State. And I am Sara Sharp alongside Tyler Danburg, Austin Crume, and Caleb Spinner for SGSR and SGSR TV. Thank you again for listening to another exciting game here tonight.